Just do it. What up?
How are you? Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
She's thriving. Well,
What kind of a dog?
she's like a mix.
Oh.
Rescued her. So,
Oh.
little Ellie.
Cute.
Yeah. I just like to have this. Like that's the speech, right? This is. We want some tags up there.
Because I want to monitor.
Then can I just talk to you on that?
Me or Jess. Actually, Jess will probably monitor.
I should get. Thanks, Em.
No problem.
What's going on, everyone? You good? Yeah. Have you been to any of my classes before?
No.
I'm Todd.
Kirsten.
Pearson? Okay. All right, so let's go. How do you guys like the first couple of night classes so far? Good?
Yeah, I think it's
Feel free to chime in too when you're online. Michelle, and Kygo, and everyone. When I ask questions, just feel free to type in, Michelle. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, is there a microphone? I think it seems to help yesterday when someone had a microphone.
So there's a right here.
Sorry.
Yeah, I agree. Microphone's better.
Hello?
Hello.
Can you hear me better now?
Yeah,
So much better. Thank you.
much better.
Yeah, of course. I need to have like one of those headsets like Tony Robbins.
I know. Sorry. It's probably annoying to
Yeah,
hold a
there you go.
microphone.
That's fine. Yeah, so what do you guys think of everyone? I mean, what do you guys think of the Ignite classes so far? Good. Good.
Great.
Any like crazy takeaways, aha moments?
Yes, I need to be doing a lot more.
A lot more what?
Prospecting, studying, calling, learning everything.
So real estate,
Yeah, exactly.
a day, yeah.
Patience.
Any questions so far? I kind of like to go by, you know, the program and stuff like that, but I'm also open for, yeah.
I have a question. And as a new agent, I always ask the same question because I like to get more information from different people that have a lot more experience than me, I think. As a new agent, when I sit down to make the call.
Can you guys hear the question or no? Can you hear her speaking?
Yes.
Down to make the call, I do not have the confident because I don't feel, I have nothing to show. I have nothing to talk about. So there's always the conversation that they say, you can say, well, this is a new home, your neighbors don't have to say it's yours. It doesn't have to be yours. You can, somebody else is listening. You can talk about it. Or you can just say, I have a team that I work with, which I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, Sally is my trainer, but
Sure.
so I just want to have a basic dialogue that I'm able to say that has a value and it's not stupid, you know? It's
Yeah.
not, so it doesn't come off as, oh, new agent doesn't know what I'm talking about. We have another person that probably more experienced.
Sure.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
That is my really.
Sure. So, well, one of the things in this packet is going to be limited beliefs as well. So, I mean, right off the bat, you already have a limited belief of like, I'm new, I don't know much, this, that, and the other thing. It's basically one thing after another. But the thing is that you don't have to have experience to know the market stats, to know where the market's heading, to know what the actives are, the pendings are, what the solds are. If you're calling a specific street, neighborhood, you don't have to be experienced to know what the last 5 active and sold and pendings were on that street. You don't need to know the square footage and what it was listed for and what it sold for and all that. So a lot of it comes from, a lot of scripts basically originate from confidence. If you're not confident, you're not going to be able to confidently speak. And honestly, you could be the most experienced agent in the world, but if you're not doing your research and know your numbers, you're still going to sound inexperienced. I mean, you can sell 100 properties a year, but if we don't know where the market's heading and what the inventory is and what the one down the corner around the street, you know, if you're circle dialing neighborhoods, you know, you're going to have people asking, hey, what that 1-2 streets over? Because everyone kind of keeps a tab on their neighborhood and stuff like that. And, you know, if you're an inexperienced agent and when you call says, what the one sell for 2 streets over? And you're like, well, that was listed for $890. It sold for $850. That one was on the market for 150 days. It was a 2,300 square foot model. I see that you have the 2,100 model. You're experienced, as opposed to experienced agent with not knowing that, saying like, well, let me go check real quick and this, that, and the other thing. So, you know, knowledge is power in this industry. One of the things is that the more knowledge you have with whatever script you're heading, you'll become more confident. So like if you're going into circle dial neighborhoods, the more confident or the more knowledgeable you are in that neighborhood, the more confident you'll sound. If you're trying to scramble and you're typing in houses on MLS or Redfin, trying to search while you're talking, you're not going to seem confident because you're scrambling, as opposed to, you know, really what like open houses too. You know, if you're sitting in open house and you need to know what other ones in this price range, and if there's other ones available, you know, if you're doing an open house and it's a 4-bed, 3-bath, 2,500 square foot house in Thousand Oaks, more than likely, I mean, okay, well, we can't do open houses yet, but when we do, it's just an example of like, not that house won't fit every single buyer. So like if a buyer walks into the open house and that one doesn't work, you having knowledge of other properties that might work for them shows your value and stuff like that, you know, because I always, when someone walks into an open house, it's like, hey, you know, how'd you hear about it? How'd you hear about the open house? And that's one thing that I'm going to go on is it doesn't have to be exactly a black and white script that you memorize. When it comes down to scripts and everything else like that, it's basically going with what you feel comfortable with, because you have to feel comfortable with it. If you don't feel comfortable with it, you sound like a robot, and people don't relate with that. They can't relate with you with that. So it's like, you don't have to go verbatim, but you get the gist of it. So like with open houses, when people come in, how'd you hear about us? Because if somebody saw it online, they pretty much know the stats. They know it's a 4-bed, 3-bath, 2,400. They know what it's listed for. They know how long it's been on the market and stuff. If somebody comes into the same open house and says, well, I saw the signs, they don't have a clue. They don't know the beds. They don't know the bath. They don't know the price. They don't know anything. So having your script at an open house, it just pretty much goes like, you know, how'd you hear about us? Oh, I saw it online. I saw it on Zillow. I saw it on Redfin. I saw it on, okay, cool. Yeah. Well, come in, take a look around. I don't like to, sometimes people or some agents like to go right for the sign in. Hey, sign in, put your name, put your this. I don't, me personally, and again, this isn't a right or wrong answer, but I don't like to go right for probing them as soon as they walk in the door. You know, I'll have them take a look around. Let me know if you have any questions. My name's Todd. And then I'll like follow back up with them. If they're looking at a couple rooms, I'll check back in with them. Yeah. What do you think? Any questions so far? They say no. The next thing I'll ask is, you know, how long have you been searching for? Are you working with an agent? They say no. How long have you been searching for? Just starting like light combo. Yeah. If they say, oh, you know, we've been on and off for 5 months, 6 months, basically say, well, you know, you haven't found anything you've liked in 6 months. Have you written on anything? Do you see anything you like? What do you, so building like a rapport with these people to make them feel comfortable, because they're going into 10 other open houses that are saying the same stuff. So, yeah, the agents are always trying to get the info and set them up on a portal and this and the other thing. So, you know, what brings me back to what I was saying earlier is that if this one doesn't work and they say, you know, the yard's a little too small, the layout's a little too choppy, the neighborhood, you know, I prefer a different neighborhood. If you come back and you say, well, you know, I actually know a couple of them that actually have a great yard, great size and stuff, I can, you know, would be more than happy to get you in there and stuff like that. You're showing knowledge. It's more than just one property that you're in. You're aware of the market and stuff. You know, if this one doesn't work, and sometimes there's agents that host open houses as partners, because literally if it's like a person that's not working with an agent and then there's a property in the same neighborhood right down the street and you know it's vacant, and you can have a lockbox. And again, this is all like pre-COVID and PEDS and all this stuff. But again, there will be a time where there's no more PEDS and stuff like that. But, you know, sometimes agents like to do it in partners and then say, hey, you know what? My partner can stay here at the open house. Let me go take you to the other property real quick. You go there and you're building that rapport. You're now showing this person properties. And after they're done, you know, you get there and then go back to the open house and stuff. So that would be my long answer to your question of confidence doesn't come from experience. Confidence comes from research. So whatever the market was, I could be number one agent in the county as of 2019, but come 2020 and COVID now, if I didn't catch up with the market right now, then whatever happened in 2019 is irrelevant. And so it's like you have to continuously stay, which is a benefit to even new agents because it's so fluid. It's not like once you know it, you know it, it's constantly changing. So the more updated you are, the more you can that's where your confidence comes from, is like, you know, like if someone comes in and says, yeah, I feel the market is going to dip, or I feel the market's slowing down, or I feel this, that, and the other thing, you could come hit them with stats like, well, actually the inventory is 50% less than last year this time. The days on the market is less than this time. The absorption rate is quick. Usually we have a 3-month inventory where it's like, how you tell what an absorption rate is?
What is that?
Absorption rate is if you don't list another property and you freeze all the active ones and you don't list another one, how long would it take for all those properties to go off the market and stuff like that? So that's like how long would it take to get absorbed into the market? Usually it's like a 3-month absorption rate. So it's like if nothing else came, you would get no listings. You'd have 0 listings in 3 months. So if that goes down, that means the inventory is low because it takes quicker to absorb. If the absorption rate goes like a year, that means there's like a surplus and stuff like that. So just knowing what today's interest rate is, one easy site is like go to like Wells Fargo, Google even Wells Fargo interest rates, and Wells Fargo will go to today's interest rates and stuff like that. You always recommend to talk to a lender and stuff like that, but knowing that it's 2.4, you don't have to be exactly, but if it's really like 2.4 and you're telling people, I think it's like 3.2 right now, you're done. I mean, they already think you don't know what you're doing and stuff. So doing that, I just want to make sure the chat is up. So if anyone's asking stuff, any other questions in here as of right now? This unreal. I don't know why the chat left anyway. Any questions in there? Are you guys good?
We're good.
Okay. Cool. So moving on. All right. So scripts out, lead generate, uncover motivations, identify objections, close deals, speak in terms, build confidence. Jesus. Did you find everything you were looking for? Go ahead and look around. I see you're admiring. So this is it sounds like this is basically open houses right here. Go ahead and look around. Let me know if I can help. I see you admiring. I mean, do I really have to move this? Whatever. The big screen TV, looking to get one this weekend. I mean, all that. Remove your limited beliefs. So limited beliefs right there. Benefit of using scripts. So script builds confidence, job ability, scripts allow. I'm just going to, if you guys are typing on the chat, I'm going to minimize it. So just let me know. Okay. Because if you're typing stuff, I won't know. So just let me know if if you have a question. Okay. Online.
Cool.
Right. Scripts allow for consistency and what agents take. How to use scripts. I know this was going on. How long is this?
Hi, I'm Jeff Glover, and I'm going to tell you the top 5 things that you need to know about using scripts. Step 1, you're going to need to get your scripts from a top agent in the office, your team leader, a maths coach, or of course, Keller Williams University. Step 2, we're going to need to do a total transformation of instead of talking and telling, of asking questions. Selling isn't telling, selling is asking a series of questions that leads to desired response. So instead of talking so much, we need to get in the habit of asking questions. And asking questions gives us control of the conversation. Control of the conversation gives us our ultimate outcome, which is an appointment set or closing. Step 3, we need to listen with good intentions. Well, what I mean by that is we need to listen to their answers instead of just listening to them talk and asking another question that comes to mind. For example, instead of asking a seller where they're moving to and then going on to the next question, how soon would you like to be there? Ask them, where are you moving to? And when they give you a response, ask them, what takes you there? Step 4 in becoming better at scripts is we need to learn to mimic, mirror, and match the prospect. What I mean by that is we have to listen to their tone of voice. We have to speed up or slow down based on how fast the prospect is talking. That means when they respond and say, we're moving to Toledo. Oh, Toledo, that's exciting. What takes you there? 93% of communication is body language and tonality. And that means only 7% are the words that we say or the questions that we ask. Step 5, we need to take these 5 points and practice them daily. If you think of NFL teams, they practice 50, 60 hours on the practice field for a 1-hour game. Our game is our presentations and our appointments, and we need to practice daily. Everything that we've learned every single day before we meet with our clients. When it comes to scripts, my biggest aha is that everybody has their own scripts. We're pre-programmed to have scripts, and we're talking and asking questions that are scripted. However, what we found is that most of our own scripts are no good. And so we have to learn the right scripts, the right questions to maintain control of the conversation. Thanks for watching KW Connect. Make it a great day.
So obviously there's scripts for open houses, there's scripts for circle dialing, there's scripts for have you guys been doing any scripts with any type of lead gen and prospecting and stuff like that?
Just the script classes I've been in, so.
But I mean, like in real life?
Yep.
No? Okay. Yeah.
Started getting out there and calling for sale by owner and circle prospecting.
For sale by owner, circle prospect, like circling around just listed, just sold, or just random
Yeah,
neighborhoods,
kind of.
or?
We had a call night and we had some numbers printed up from
Okay.
Oak Park. So what I did is the street, I boxed it off to see what was available for sale or just closed or stuff.
Yeah.
And used it that way in case they asked questions, just to be aware.
Okay,
Got a couple emails from it.
nice. Sean, what about you?
No, haven't been circle prospecting or anything like that.
Not even circle prospecting, but like script wise, like when, like, is it when you show buyers, when you're on a listing?
Oh.
Is it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a certain set of questions that I ask every time I go, and well, depending where the conversation goes, that, after all this time, for sure.
What script do you feel that you're the most comfortable in?
I don't think it's such a set script, more so than a set of questions to make sure they feel heard and to see what their motivation, always trying to get at motivation, and then also recognizing their objections and what they're looking for in their next agent. So
Okay.
that way I can tailor the conversation to be that agent.
Yeah, it's good.
No, I haven't.
Okay. You haven't tried any scripts or done anything? I mean,
No, not in actual, I'm practicing with colleagues and stuff.
Sure.
But not in.
okay. Okay.
Are there scripts that are documented somewhere for us to look at and practice with? We do the scripts class with Sally where it's a little more off the cuff. But I'm wondering, it seems like with these classes that somewhere there's some sort of.
You can, I mean, honestly, it really depends on what you want. I'm sure that if you talk to Emmy or Jessica, they can get you scripts of pretty much anything. If you do, there's bold scripts, there's, I'm sure Ignite has scripts. It just basically comes down to what you want to do. Honestly, even if you Google, because I mean, real estate at the end of the day is pretty self-explanatory. It's, there's not really too much technology driven when it comes down to script. So even if you Googled for sale by owner script, expired script, open house script, you're going to get thousands and thousands of different scripts that pop up.
Right, which is what I've done. There's thousands and thousands and thousands. It's just trying to break through that clutter. So I'm just wondering if maybe Keller Williams has like curated it a little bit, just for a starting point to be able to practice with something tangible.
Sure.
It might vary.
Yeah, I'm sure if you reach out to Emmy and Jessica, they'll have a booklet of scripts actually that they can get you. And that's also where when you do get those scripts and when you see other scripts and stuff like that, you don't have to feel like obligated to memorize every single word in that way and stuff like that. But it's more importantly to get the message that they're getting across.
Yeah.
It's finding a good median between getting the message across and not sounding again like a robot. Because honestly, me personally, when people are trying to solicit me for everything, I immediately know when someone is scripted, and that turns me off. I actually get drawn to people that it doesn't sound like, hello, sir, how are you doing today? Okay, I've called to get a great exam. It's like, okay, you've lost me already because I already know you're just trying to pitch me. And when people are trying to, when people feel that they're trying to be sold, the immediate knee-jerk reaction is no. Even a good example of like when you walk into Best Buy and you're looking, like you walk into Best Buy and you're looking for a TV and somebody says, hello, sir, do you need help today? It's going to be like, no, because it's like, hey, get away from me and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden you get into the TV section, like, where is someone? Why isn't no one helping me and stuff like that? Because we do that to ourselves. But if you walk into the same Best Buy and some guy comes up to you and says, Yeah. Hey, what brings you in today? You know, what are you looking for? What can I help you find? And it's a TV section. Okay, well, the TV section's over here. Let me get you going over there and stuff like that. It's a different approach, but it's the same concept. And people's immediate reaction when you ask them a yes, no question is no. It's weird because it's like they don't want to say yes because they don't know what rabbit hole they're jumping into. Oh God, you know, is this guy going to follow me around the whole store? Can you do this? Or it's like, what brings you in today? I'm searching for TVs. Okay, well, the TV section's over there. You know, did you have any specific brand or, well, you know, I'm looking for this. Okay, well, yeah, this guy will help you out. He's looking for this, and this, and LED. And so it's just different ways of approaching it too. What were you saying? Were you
more expired in his book?
expired and you've actually been real time doing it?
Yeah, not as much as I should, but yeah.
How's it been going?
Got some people on a monthly drip, but other than that, not really any, like, no listings yet, or no appointments yet, I mean.
Where are you getting your scripts?
I have been looking at Hold.
Okay.
And Mike Ferry.
Nice. What about you?
I've been doing absentee owners.
Okay.
It's been going okay. I get a lot of voicemails, but out of the people that do answer, it's either yes, I own the house still, but I'm renting it out right now. And I'll ask them what their plans are for that and try to get the information, but it's been going okay. I got a few emails off of it.
Okay. And what do you do with the emails?
Set them up for the drip campaign so they know what's going on in their neighborhood if they do decide to sell.
Yeah. Do you have like a CRM system you put them in, or?
I use Command.
But you put them in on top of the drip, you put them in your client. Yeah.
Yeah. Like
Okay.
I'll schedule it in a calendar so I know when.
Nice. That's good. Yeah. A lot of the times, most of the times people are not ready to go that second, but it's one of those things where if you stay on top of them and stuff and you follow up and you stay in contact with them, that's when you'll start to see the results. Because very, very, very few people are ready to go today, ready to hop in the car, write an offer, get pre-approved, and a lot of people from what I've seen, if they are 3 or 4 or 5 months out, they don't want to tell you that because they don't want you harassing them for the next 4 or 5 months and stuff. So it's getting that down and building a rapport with them to feel that you're not just the same agent as everyone else and stuff. Sharon, what scripts have you choosing for expireds? I don't know if your mic works. If your mic does not work, disregard. Tom Ferry. All right. I'm guessing your mic doesn't work. Tom Ferry. How is it going?
It's going.
We're all waiting, Sharon, so no pressure. A lot of hangups. Well, honestly, that is the name of the game. I mean, expireds are the reason expireds are hit up the most is because we already know that they put a flag in their yard wanting to sell. So it is immediate. It's just getting through that part, and it's a mindset of, I go for old ones also. Yeah, no, it's good.
What's your thought on, I'm like, have had my license officially like 2 weeks now, so I'm just getting all set up. But I was thinking about, instead of just calling and asking about the house, so my farm is actually where I live.
Which is where?
Moorcart up in the hills.
Okay.
So my thought was, because my name might be known because I'm on the board and we also belong to the country club there. So I have some recognition already there.
Yeah.
But my thought was to start, I got all the farm information, is to start calling, but I was going to call, say who I am, Keller Williams, and we're doing our 2nd annual food drive. So I thought I'd start with that. So I'm putting my name, the Keller Williams agent, and if you'd like to leave it on your front porch, I'll come pick it up. And I know I can't leave anything behind per se, but would that be a good idea instead of just first calling to say, are you selling or buying or know of anyone, just to kind of introduce on that level and then touch back? Or is that too much?
No. I mean, it's the cool thing about this industry is that there's no right or wrong answer. It's connections, it's contacts. It's, you don't have to just speak to expireds or for sale by owners to make yourself feel like you're doing something productive. I mean, what you should do is have like a 3 or 4 step plan. So like if you did want to reach out and say, hey, we're doing a food drive, da, 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 and people do it. And then the people that participate, you have a follow-up of, you're going to send them a thank you. You're going to keep them on your database. You're going to build a relationship. So it's not a one and nothing in this industry is a one and done, but you know, it's to say that you're giving back to the community is never a bad, it's just getting out there. You know, in this industry, I would recommend, aim to talk to like 25 to 30 people a day. 25 to 30 people a day, 25 to 30 people a day, 25 to 30 people a day. It sounds easy. And it really is easy if that was your higher number one priority and stuff like that. It's just that people and agents get away from that and they just don't make it consistent, because then when they get 1 or 2 clients, they then just start focusing on the client and they're hyper focused on it. And then you'll always see like a wave of production for an agent, because like they won't have anything and then they'll start to work with 2 or 3 clients and they will focus so much on these clients that they'll stop the prospecting. And then when these close, they'll go down again. And then like, oh God, I got to drum up business and stuff like that. And then you got to do that. And then as soon as they close, it goes back down again. And so it's almost like while you're helping these people, you're still putting the pipeline in for the next people and stuff like that. But that's, you know, you're so happy that you get a lead and a buyer and you're focused on this transaction and you're doing this and that. And then all of a sudden, 20 days goes by and you haven't done anything because you're so focused on closing the deal and stuff like that. So that's the one thing too, is having a plan in place. If you're going to do that, what's your next 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th step? It's okay. You got the food and you go to their house and you pick it up. Then what? You never talk to the person again until the next food drive or the board meeting or what's
I had a plan. I just thought.
What's your plan?
Well, it was to do a thank you note on the card and then try to get their call back and get their email information
And then what?
In the system, and then to talk about buying or selling, or do you know what's going on in the neighborhood, and have all those facts.
Okay. Yeah.
But my first thought was just to go in softly with the food drive, so they're making that connection, or.
Yeah, I mean, you never want to be a secret agent. So it's like a secret agent is the agents that are intimidated of asking for business and stuff like that. Like you can do the food drive, but don't feel like you can't bring up, by the way, anyone looking to buy or sell and stuff like that. Cause if you're not, I will, if I'm not, someone else will. And then all of a sudden there'll be a for sale sign for there. So it's one of those things that you just have to turn off the limited beliefs of you're annoying someone. Yeah. In my opinion, I think there's so much media on COVID. There's so much media on Democrat, Republican. There's so much media on the election and presidential and the infection rate and the debt. Like nobody's talking about real estate. Whenever something comes on real estate, it's going to be from the media, but they're already 2 months behind, because they're not real time right now. KTLA doesn't know what the hell's going on today, but they'll look at a graph that happened in August and they'll be like, August or September surged and stuff like. It's like, yeah, I could have told you that 2 days ago. You know what I mean? So it's like nobody talks about real estate, yet it's one of the most, especially now that everyone's staying at home. I mean, there's been, and again, that's why it's not even like a script. It's like a dialogue. So like if people are asking me, Todd, how's the market and stuff, even having knowledge of like, well, I've been seeing a lot of 310 numbers, Sean. I don't know if you've been seeing a lot of 310 numbers calling you on your listings and stuff like that, but I've been seeing a lot of 310 numbers. What does that mean? Well, 310 numbers is from LA, Santa Monica, and everywhere else. What I've seen is a lot of people, and even from the people I talk to that are calling on my listings, a lot of people are getting the hell out of LA. They're coming out here. They want the people that once looked at Ventura County as a boring, slow pace, Mayberry, everything closed at 8, no clubs, no this, no that, is a safe haven now. They want to get away from the homeless. They want to get away from the graffiti. They want to get away from the protest, the bad school district, the crime rate. They want to get away from the politics, the mayor. They want to get away from the higher taxes. They want to get, like, honestly, LA is, people are running from the hills in LA and they're coming out here, which is why you see it very active here. It's still very active here because we are getting the surge from LA, because how many times are you going to increase taxes, or how many times are you going to not look after the people that are living there that are paying the taxes to look after them? There's such an urge to help everyone. Not saying it's wrong, you know what I mean, right, wrong, or indifferent if it's helping the homeless or low income or this and the other thing. But there comes a point where the people that are actually there living, paying taxes are like, I'm done with this. You know what I mean? You're looking after everyone but the people that are actually paying and stuff. And it's not me saying that. That is what literally people have told me, coming from Sherman Oaks, coming from Santa Monica, coming from Encino. And so having that as part of your dialogue when somebody says, how's the market? You know, people are, as soon as they know you're an agent, they're going to fire off, how's the market? How's the market? How's the market? 12 years, 11 years in this industry. So what's going on in the market? You know, what's going on, Todd? Well, how's the market and stuff like that? And it's like, you can either have a short BS response. Yeah. You know, it's good. It's good. You know, you don't even looking to buy or sell, or you go in and double down on it and say, I've seen a surge from LA. You know, I don't know really the specifics of what's doing it, but I know a lot of people in LA are actually coming to Ventura for their own reasons and stuff. I know that interest rates are very low right now, historically low at 2.4%. So a lot of people are trying to lock in interest rates because the rents are extremely high right now. And I also know that because COVID's come, and I mean, you've had companies that have already told their employees, hey, brace up for 2021, because you might not even be coming back till 2022 and stuff like that. That they're like, okay, well, if I'm going to be working from home, I need an office, I need an extra room, I need a base, I need this. So that's where people are now, you know, pool homes have gone up because people are spending so much time at home now. You have pool houses gone up because they can't go anywhere. You have contractors busy as hell and prices going up because now people are at home seeing everything wrong with their house where they didn't before. And before, they would go to work, they would go out, they would go here, they would come home, go to sleep, go to work again. Now they're at home looking at, oh God, I can't stand this, you know, and all of a sudden the contractors are becoming busy. Now the painters are busy, the agents are busy. So that response is completely different than, well, it's a good, you know, if you know anyone, let me know. And it's like knowing the stuff and actually having a dialogue will automatically elevate you in that person's mind of like, wow, you got your finger on the pulse and stuff like that. Like, and that was one script I was using. And like when COVID started, I started to create my own script when I was going on listing appointments and stuff like that. I was like, look, during COVID, since March shutdown, we've closed like 50 transactions. And so you got to make sure that whoever you're interviewing is active in this market, because if you were a top producing agent in 2019, but you're not now, it is a different market. You have different regulations, you have different paperwork you got to post on the thing. You can't put brochures, you got to have sanitizer. And I go one step further and I have disinfectant wipes and face masks and stuff like that. And so it's like painting a picture of like, this is what's going on. This is the new era, as far as we know, until it's not, of real estate, and kind of going from there. And so it's like, that's my script that I've just, when you start to live and breathe this stuff, you start to make your own scripts, because I'm like just evaluating what's going on around me. There was one client that was always going to go through Redfin, and every year I would follow up with them. And, you know, he leaves a Yelp review now saying like, if you're thinking about going with Redfin and to get a couple $1,000 back, you know, really think about it. Cause this, like, real estate's so complex that this is the right guy to go to. And he knew everything to do and this, that, and the other thing. So now when somebody comes to me and says, well, I'm thinking about going to Redfin and stuff, I just say, go check out this guy right here, you know, check out this right here, check out that. If somebody comes and says, well, the agent before me said that they would reduce their commission or this and the other thing, what do you think? And it's like, well, if they're going to reduce their worth, their own worth, if they're going to really not fight for their own worth, why do you think they're going to fight hard for the value of your home? I mean, if this guy doesn't even know my own worth, I'm like, okay, I'll do it for less. You think he's going to be a bulldog when it comes to getting you the most money? You save $3,000. If this guy will do it for $5,000 less or $6,000 less, what if I can make you 30,000 more? You're ahead 24,000, you know, but a lot of it is the front end of it. And it's like, you know, they're always looking at the immediate front and not the back end and stuff, and say like, look, if I can make you 25, 30,000 more, what is the 5,000 worth and stuff? So implementing all that. And again, if you don't have the experience or anything like that, that's okay. It's having the knowledge then. You got to have the knowledge of what's the population, what's the population of Thousand Oaks? What's the population of Agora? What's the population of Westlake? Population of Agora or of Thousand Oaks is it's like 160,000 people. The population of Westlake Village is like 6,000, 7,000. So, well, why is Westlake so expensive? It's like, well, you're sandwiched in between Thousand Oaks and you're sandwiched in between Oak Park and Agora. I mean, think about that. Agora, Oak Park, Thousand Oaks, and you have Westlake Village. So you already have an area that is low crime, high schools, but then you also have only a population of like 6,000. So supply and demand you don't have a lot of houses. You go to Thousand Oaks, you got apartments, you got condos, you got townhomes, houses, everything else. You have a bigger selection. So when people want to move into Westlake, you have less to choose from, which is why the average median price point for Westlake and Agora is like 1 million. You go to Calabasas, it's like 1.3 is your highest point and stuff like that. Any questions so far? Hi, she's on my team. Pick any
Think
script.
she just embarrassed you?
That's funny. So with that said, what are other, even the people online, like what are some of the prospecting, thanks, Sharon. What are some of your future, like when you leave here today, what are some of the things you're going to be going to generate new business of avenues of prospecting and stuff? What are you looking to focus on?
Just gaining a better knowledge of my market, which is Moore Park as well, so I have something to talk about with them that I can provide value to them.
But are you still gonna, like you were doing
Absentees.
absentees? Okay.
Absentees and expires is what I want to start with.
Okay. How many are making 30 contacts or more a day? How many?
When you say contacts, you mean actual conversations, right?
I mean, like people that you can literally ask, are you looking to buy or sell? And them say no or yes. I mean, like that's, how many are doing, okay, let's reverse it. How many are doing more than 5 contacts a day? Yeah, no.
I'm doing about 5.
Did that, Michelle?
Yeah, sorry. Hold on. Me and my dogs. Sorry. Yeah, I'm doing about 5 a day right now. I'm pretty new, and I have I think a pretty big sphere that I'm starting to go through and call. I had a 25-year career in entertainment marketing, so
wow.
I've spent a lot of time putting everybody into my CRM, and now I'm starting to call people. So where I'm getting stuck is I'm calling to like catch up with people, kind of to keep it light. They know I'm doing this now because I've sort of announced it on LinkedIn and on Facebook. But I'm trying not to be overly shilly, if that's a word. So I'm not outright saying, are you thinking of buying or selling? But I am sort of towards the end of the conversation saying, listen, if you know of anyone, who's thinking of buying or selling, I really would be so grateful if you would think of sending them my way. And that's kind of as bold, I guess, as I've been.
Okay. Well, I would say don't have any shame in your game of asking for the business. Even down to asking it. So back to the Best Buy example, if a guy says, do you need help today? It's like, no, I don't. But so if you ask anyone, do you know anyone looking to buy or sell? The knee-jerk reaction is going to say, no, I don't. But if you switch that up and it's the same question, you say, who do you know looking to buy or sell? You're subconsciously telling them that they know someone. Does anyone know, or raise your hand if you know how many people, each person, like, so the average individual, how many people that they come across every year that either buys or sells. Does anyone know that number?
Nope.
Maybe
so people that aren't real estate agents or anything like that, anyone in your database, anyone in your sphere, just one individual, how many people they will come across in their own world that either buys or sells? 10.
Maybe more, because their friends, their family, maybe they hear that from a lot of people. Yeah, I want to buy or sell a house.
What do you guys think? 6, 20, 7. It is actually 7.
Oh.
So the average person comes across 7 people a year that buy or sell. So if you have a database of 100 people, they're going to have 700 people that are buying and selling stuff. So by saying, who do you know, you'll see the response to change. I've seen a change when you say, do you know anyone looking to buy or sell? Nah, I don't. It's the easy knee-jerk reaction. If I say, who do you know looking to buy or sell, and I'm applying it, you'll actually see them like think. Like they'll be like, oh God, who? Let me think. I think I knew someone. And if they can't think of anyone at that moment, you can then go to them and say, you know what, you don't have to tell me right now. If you don't mind though, if you can like sleep on it and stuff, I'll circle back with you in a couple of days, which now sets up for your next combo and stuff like that. Let me circle back with you in a couple of days. If you could think about it, that'd be great. I'd really appreciate it and stuff like that. So again, that would be a part of a script as well, of knowing which words to use. So when you're talking being in for 25 years, Michelle, you must have a massive database of contacts.
I do. They're not all local, which is fine. I'm calling people that are out of state as well. But yeah, I have a pretty.
You never know. Honestly, 2 stories is that I've had my first listing ever in Dos Vientos in Newbury Park came from a kid that I went to 4th grade with, and was friends on Facebook, posting on real estate and stuff. And he hit me up and he was like, yeah, I'm in Colorado right now. My mother-in-law, though, my wife's mother, is getting a divorce. And she asked me, kids in Colorado, but she asked him, you grew up here. Do you know any agents? It's crazy. That was my first Dos Vientos listing was that an introduction of like, I know this guy because he knew me from 4th grade and stuff like that. Another one, where does it go? There was an agent that I was cool. And this is another thing too, is respect your fellow agents too, because not all of them will still be in the business. And I always give everything to if you want, I'm more than happy to sit down, teach classes, this and the other thing. But there's been times where like an agent that is no longer in the business moved to North Carolina and referred me over probably 3-4 million in sales properties. Referred me a listing in Woodland Hills.
Who's that agent?
Don't worry about that. It ain't you. Referred me that in Woodland Hills and got the listing and stuff, and then ended up double siding it just because the guy came in cash, everything else like that. That guy got his cut with the referral fee and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden his kids were looking to buy out here and sell. And so we sold their $996,000 house and they bought one that's 1.4. And it's like from an agent. And so it's like, you don't know, but all of that is like your network and your database. I would not be scared, because at the end of the day, what comes with confidence is asking for the business. You not asking for the business shows that you're intimidated and stuff, but you want to come off like I will literally rival any person, any agent out there, Jordan Cohen, any top person you can think of. Mark Tyrone, I love Mark Tyrone, but I'm not intimidated of him. He's a great agent in production and stuff, but you can't be intimidated. You guys shouldn't be like, if you were going up against me in a listing appointment, how many of you would be intimidated? You would be.
Yes.
Anyone else or no?
Yeah.
You want to be?
No, I try not.
It's good. Kind of be, but there's no reason. You know what I mean? Like there's no reason to be.
Yeah.
It's like you need to go in with just like a killer instinct, because this guy is, or male or female, he or she wants to get the most money for their property. And this isn't by having a timid, like, oh, well, like this guy wants like a bulldog selling his or her multi-million-dollar property. They want somebody that is going to be confident and open and fluid and not intimidated and not pulled back. Because again, I don't, if I'm talking to a financial advisor for my retirement, or if I'm talking to someone, I don't want some guy like, an example is if you're showing a buy around, this is another script too. Is like, if you're showing a buy around, you got to know the properties and stuff. You can't just print out an MLS detail report 10 minutes before you go show it and then show it, unless you're super familiar with the area. So like, if you're going to be showing property, you need to know the area, you need to know the neighborhood, you need to know, how is this priced and stuff like that. And a lot of agents don't do it because it's work, and God forbid you do work in this industry and stuff like that. But like, they don't want to do the work. It's like, I don't have access to any more properties than you guys have access to. I don't have a secret login where it doesn't have these properties. Like, you guys have access to this. So what's going to happen when you show your buyer, they walk into the property, they look at it, they say they like it. What are they going to ask you? What do you think? So automatically you should be calling the listing agent prior to show, but you also should be asking them, this is another script. It's like, do you have any offers in hand? Are you back and forth with any counters? Do you have anything going on right now? So when you're showing them the property, it's like, yeah, they already have 2 offers in hand. So when your buyer's like, let's lowball them and go 50K under, like, I have 2 offers over asking. What are you going to do right now? You know what I mean? And I'm like, okay, well, let's go back and I can call the agent. It's like, you're naive. I know every single property I show, I write my notes, and on the MLS printout, I say, do you have any offers? Have you received any offers? Are you in the middle of any counters? If they say yes, we've received offers, I try to probe even further. And this is where relationship building is. And the better relationship you have, like, a lot of agents look at other agents as like a competitor. I look at it as like an ally, because we're not competing with each other. Like, we're helping each other. You have a seller that wants to sell. I have a buyer that wants to buy. This isn't, the reason I didn't want to be an attorney is I hate reading, number one. But number two, I used to work for an attorney in college, and it's like divorce and this, that, and the other thing. And you're looking to bleed each other dry and wait till I gouge it. And it's just so bad energy and stuff like that. And it's like, well, the husband wants to do this and the wife wants to do that. And you're trying to here, it's like, let's collaborate, because if I have a listing, I'm not going to have a buyer for my listing all the time. I might need your buyer. And it's like, let's work together. And then the next transaction, you have a good rapport already. And more than likely that agent, you have a higher probability of saying, you know what, Todd, I've had agents come and be like, Todd, I love you. I hope you guys get it. We're in at 785. We have an offer at 785. You could give me 790. Let's do it. And stuff like that. Now you start to become valuable to your buyers and stuff like that. Going to my buyer saying, I have a very good rapport with this agent. If you want the property, you pretty much got it, but you're going to have to be here at this, is very different than going into a property, not knowing if there's any offers, not knowing anything. But back to the financial advisor of like, if you didn't do all that, you should do it. But if you didn't, and then the buyer looks at you and says, what should I offer? What are you going to tell them if you don't do your research?
Well, especially in this market too, where there's no inventory and way more.
But even if you're like, well, the one down the street, it was a little bit more updated. It sold for this, and this. This one's listed at this, and this, that, and the other thing. So it's like knowing it and stuff. I don't want to go to my financial advisor and him say, well, Todd, what what stocks you want to buy? It's like, I don't know, man. You know what I mean? Like, you tell me. You tell me. So and that goes, and by the way, that goes towards a listing too. When you go to the seller, and the seller, like, you're saying, well, I don't know, and this, that, and the other thing. And it's like, they want you to be confident. I want my financial advisor. I could have 2 financial advisors. One financial advisor comes to me and says, well, what do you like? You like tech? You like gas? You like, it's like, I like making money. So whatever you think, I don't give a about that. You know, I want versus the other guy saying, I'm already doing the research. The energy business is going to explode right now. You need to get the energy. If Biden gets elected, boom, 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 boom. If Trump gets elected, oil's going to go up. If Biden gets elected, it's going to be energy and solar and everything else. If Trump, it's oil, it's this, it's that, it's coal, like all that. If like that guy earns my business, not the guy that's like, well, we can dabble and we, you know, let me go back and research. Let me go. By that time, you've already lost their confidence because you should know it. Like, this is what you do. You live and breathe it. It's every day. You're an agent. To not, if you ever have to say, let me go back and do research, and let me put a disclaimer here. I'm never saying ad-lib it. Like, don't shoot from the hip at the same time, because you'll end up shooting yourself in the foot if you completely botch it. But what I am saying is you should never have to shoot from the hip and say, well, let me go back to the office. You can say that in times if you truly don't know, because you don't want to say something and then it be tremendously wrong and inaccurate and stuff like that. But you do everything possible to never have to say, let me go back to the offices and do that. You want to be able to give them answers. You want to be able to do your research. You want to be able to do the right stuff to where they look at you, you know that how many offers they have, are the offers over, how many days on the market. With Redfin and Zillow and Trulia and Realtor, a lot of agents are showing buyers around where the buyers know more about the property than the agent does. The agent walks in, shows them around, and it's like, okay. And the buyer's like, well, I see this was purchased in 2017 for, did they do any upgrades? You're like, oh, well, I don't know. That's a good question. You know what I mean? And it's like, you need to know the property. You need to know what it's sold for. You need to know what, like, it would be great to know that it was purchased 2 years ago, but why is it priced 600,000 more? Well, if you look at the photos, that was original. They came in, they blew everything out. They opened the door and this, that, and the other thing. And it's like, okay, you did your research and stuff like that. You're not just coming in saying, I don't know. You didn't even go and look at the history and look at the photos for 20 seconds. And again, we're talking about $25,000, $30,000 commissions. Where else are you going to go where you can start your own business, make 6 figures and have an overhead of $4,000? Nowhere. You know, your MLS key, your monthly fee, your super key, a couple mismatched stuff of here and there. It's like $5,000 a year to be an agent. And yet we could go sell a property at $10 million and make $200,000 over. Where you get, what industry are you going to do that in? Like where you a restaurant, you're in hundreds of thousands of dollars. Other industries where you're paying marketing and other things, like here, you walk right in, there's no overhead. Go list a multi-million-dollar property, make 60 grand. It's just, yeah, or more.
You did a good job that time if you came off. I don't know. I don't think it's in my head, like you're saying, it's not that one sale, or if you say the wrong thing or you come off not knowledgeable. Like when we bought our house, it was an auction. And we said, should we up our bid 10 grand more? And he said, I don't know, it's your money. Well, what the hell kind of answer is that? So I'll never use, well, now I won't, but I mean.
Who was that guy?
Somebody.
Where'd you look
Not
at?
Sean.
Was it Sean or what?
It wasn't Sean.
Was he in his office? Okay, you answered it. Yeah, and you already answered it. So, but that's what I'm saying.
No, it wasn't me.
It was not Sean. Sean just knows the person.
It wasn't Sean, because if it was Sean,
But I guess
he would have rebutted.
That mistake, of course, we used them because, and then actually ended up outbidding our own selves in the end of the auction. But
you got it.
we did get it. But that kind of answer, if I weren't now
Yeah.
looking into real estate, I wouldn't go back a second time to that.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's like,
If people remember, I mean, look at that.
of course.
That's-
I mean, she was looking to see if he was walking by the window right there. This guy's active around there. I mean,
You're not here right now.
yeah. So, but that's also another thing that I say in all of my Ignite, every class I teach, I bring it up, is that you're either and for those that have been in the class where I've said it, you don't answer, but do you know the difference between a pilot and a taxi driver?
Knows where he's going, and you tell the taxi driver.
That was actually extremely accurate. Yeah. So a taxi driver, basically someone hops in the car for a taxi driver and says, go here, go there, stop here, go there, go here, go here, stop, let me get out. And then he just does whatever you tell him to do. Pilot, imagine if you went to the pilot like, hey, can we land at this airport right now? It's like, no, man, get there, shut up. I'm going to take you where you need to go. That's what people are looking for in an agent. You're piloting it. You are the boss. You're the head honcho, the big cheese, the number one, the guy that knows everything, the girl that knows everything, that like they're looking at you terrified that this is going to be the biggest purchase of their life. And they don't want any hesitation. They don't want like, do you want to see this? Do you not? Like your guy right there. Yeah. Do you want to go in and this and the other thing? And so it's like, you need to know your stuff and you need to go from there.
And we all deal with people, even though you're telling them what they need to do, they still don't listen. And, you know, it ends up biting them in the ass later. And,
yeah.
You know, so even if you bring confidence, there's people that just won't listen to you as well. And at the same time, when you start to get experience and stuff like that, I start bringing in real life examples of like, well, what should we ask for in the request for repairs? You know, should we ask for more and get less and this, that, and the other thing? And it's like, there's been times where if you ask for too much, it completely turns the seller off and you get less. If you ask for like legitimately, this is health and safety. This is like, I am nervous for my health and safety with these items right here. I spoke to an agent in one of my listings and the buyer's agent he hated the buyer. Like he's like, this guy's such a D-bag and this, that, and the other thing. And I was like, why? He's like, well, for the request for repairs, and this is Dos Vientos, one of the requests for repairs is he wanted the seller to jackhammer the whole driveway and re-pour it because it had a crack in it. Not a crack, like a crazy crack, like it had a hairline crack. So he wanted to jackhammer and re-pour the whole thing up. If he would have asked that, and he talked his buyer out of asking that, but I'll tell you right now, if that buyer would have asked that, he would have got 100% less than what we negotiated and stuff like that. Because it's like, you're delusional, you know what I mean? And you're insulting. And it's like that agent helped that buyer by telling him, don't ask for that, you know, as opposed to like, well, whatever you want. Like if you're going from intimidating and you're scared to say no to your client, this industry is going to derail you all over the place. Because if we did whatever our clients wanted to do in a certain extent, it would be a shit show, you know, because at the end of the day, a lot of times our clients see HGTV, they see flip this house, they see, you know, love it or list it. And all of a sudden they're a professional. All of a sudden they're like, well, what about this right here? And it's like, okay, you know, this is this. And you explain it to them and you explain it to them and you explain it to them, because again, it's finding a good median with your respect of the buyer and seller, and not, you don't have to feel obligated to work with every single client. Like if you feel like there's only one thing worse than, because what I've seen a lot is a lot of agents grab onto every single lead that they have, even if they deep down in their gut know it's not a legit lead because they have no other leads. And so let me do this. But there's only one thing worse than no leads, is a lead that's going to take your time, your money, your gas, your energy, your patience, and then walk away and do that. You know, guiding them to pre-approvals. You know, if you get a call and you want to show someone one or two properties that are, that they want to see, it's okay. But then if you're telling them get pre-approved in this market right now, you don't have the extra 72 hours to talk to a lender. It's gone. The property's gone by now if you really like it and stuff like that. And if this person is resisting getting pre-approved, you got to ask yourself what's going on. You know what I mean? Why do you not want to get pre-approved? Well, you know, when I find the right place, that is the most lethal statement I've heard any buyer say, is that when the right place comes along, that right place, the guy said that 10 years ago, looking and stuff like that. You know, and that's the thing. It's that that's your other script too. When you're interviewing clients, you interview them if you want to work with them. This is not like reverse. Like first, I'm going to see if we're a good fit, because I'm not going to be demeaned or anything else like that. But you know, when you're talking to people, it's like, okay, well, why are you buying right now?
When are you looking to buy? When are you doing this? Well, my son is graduating. Want to wait till he's gone, and then we're going to do it. So you already know that that's a B buyer because there's a barrier. So there's an A buyer that's like, I'm getting relocated. I'm going to be out here looking for properties. I need to buy something. That is a teed up A buyer and stuff like that. A B buyer is, my son's finishing Oaks Christian, or my son's finishing middle school. We don't want to take him out of the middle school, but when he finishes the year, we're going to move and then we're going to identify it and stuff like that. That's a B. It's a barrier right there. And a C buyer is, if a good deal comes along, let me know. It's like, yeah, I'll let you know. Yeah, I'll get back to you, like that. And honestly, it happens all the time. If a good deal really comes in, I'll tell you what, you can give these guys, how many times I have investors come to me and be like, if you have a very good investment, and I'll bring it to them, and that the numbers will never work for them. It'll always want to be lower than it is, even though I'm saying you'll make $100 grand right now. It's like, well, I really need to get it for less for it to make, it's like, again, you need to really screen your people. You need to screen the buyers. You need to screen the sellers. What are you looking to sell? Sean and I actually coincidentally went on a listing appointment with the same guy, not knowing we both went on it. And, I don't know how we ever found it out that we did go on it, but like, this guy wanted me to do it for like $5 grand. And he wanted me to show every listing, or he wanted me to be there at every listing or every showing. I'm sorry. He wanted me to be there at every showing. He wanted me to write a letter to the HOA to say that they stopped watering the grass and to rewater it more to make it green. He wanted to reach out to the neighbor who had a dog and tell him to keep his dog on a leash and stuff. And he wanted me, and this property, and again, it was for like $5 grand. At that point, I was like, this doesn't work for me. Like, I'm too busy right now to be doing that. I didn't tell him that. I didn't say I'm too busy. I just said, look, I don't think we're a good fit and this and the other thing. And you need to have someone that can service you the way you need to be serviced. You have a very specific request and stuff like that. I don't want to overpromise and underdeliver and stuff like that. I just can't do it. And 5,000, I would need to do it for more than that. It doesn't make sense. Now, if some guy that has a $2 million property is telling you to show it every showing, and you do it, but there is a time where you'll reach a tipping point where it's like, mine, 5,000 didn't make sense. Yours, it might be 1,000 or $500. It's like, it doesn't, when I started real estate, it was 2009 and it was the recession, and I would be doing 14, 15 rentals a year. I would just be doing rentals. I didn't make my first sale for 2 years. It was brutal because like everything was just nosediving. Who would want to buy if it's less? Who would want to sell if they're underwater? I wasn't in with the banks. I didn't know short sales. When I started, you literally had a buyer and you submitted an offer and you waited 8 months. You just waited 8 months to get back, and you submitted 800,000. The bank would come back and be like, we want 910,000. Give us an answer in 4 days or we start this all over again. And you're like, well, that's not going to work. And then you do it again to another property. And like the short sales would take 7 to 8 months to get back to you. And at 99 out of 100 listings were short sale subject to lender approval, short sale subject to lender approval, short sale subject to lender approval. If there was a standard sale that came on, everyone would be like, what's going on with this listing? Why is this person selling right now? And it's like weird. Where here, I'm talking to some agents like, I've been in the business for 2 months. I haven't sold anything and I'm getting frustrated. It's like, Jesus, again, have the killer instinct that you should be expecting to close stuff, but you know what I mean? Like just keep grinding and stuff like that. But that's where it was a wild time. But at that time I was working I had 2 other jobs. I was working as an agent, and I would be more than happy to close rentals because the 2 other jobs and then the rentals to me that I would be making $450 was the equivalent of working for 3 days or 4 days at the other job. So I'd be like, cool, that's a 2-week paycheck right there. That's a 2-week. Now, if someone's like, hey, do you work rentals? I'm like, I can't help you, man. I can't help you. I would suggest Zillow, Craigslist, all that stuff, unless it's like a personal friend. But if somebody calls me off the street that says, hey, I'm looking for a rental, it's like, I can't help you, but I started from that. And I think that that's what has created me to be humbled, where I could sell an extremely big listing and get a lot of commission, I just put it in the bank and I'm numb to it. It could be a $300 commission. It can be a $100,000 commission. It's irrelevant to me. It's numbers are numbers. I don't pull back. I don't pull back on prospecting. I don't go take a vacation. I don't do, it's just, where's the next one coming from? Where isn't this commission isn't that commission? It's over. It's not residual. The IRS is going to be waiting for you to pay it. And where's the next one coming from? Because you still have bills and stuff like that. So it's one of those things that you need to be very mindful of your time. And scripts basically are in that, because scripts, if you want to say scripts, I don't usually like the word script because again, it's not verbatim. It's kind of a guide and an outline. But scripts apply to a seller, scripts apply to a buyer, scripts apply to someone you're door knocking, scripts apply to for sale by owner, expireds, absentee owners, scripts apply everywhere. But your time is extremely valuable, because the time that you could be spending on someone, where if you ask them the right questions, if you ask them stuff that could have weeded them out, you could be prospecting and calling people, like you said, how many people you call a day?
No, none yet.
None? Well, what are you waiting for? To get licensed or join an office or?
I was in like Michelle, a prior business, so I just switched over my LinkedIn and everything actually last night. So I was just switching everything, so when they looked me up, I wasn't associated with my other company.
Yeah.
So I was planning on starting tomorrow morning with the calls. So now, because I didn't want them to pull in and they went to my other company.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and even that, before you were even getting licensed, you start hitting up your database that you're comfortable with, that knows you're transitioning. I'm gonna be like, hey, I'm getting my license. Just want to let you know, I'm going to be getting my license. I'm joining one of the biggest brokerages in the county and stuff like that. Keep me in mind. Like you could have been already teeing yourself up to where, and I've seen it all the time.
Right.
Not you,
I
but
did with family, but not with any of my database I have.
And
I feel like we're kind of the same. I feel like up until like I've been licensed since October 1st, right? And in my mind, I want everything lined up. I want everything a certain way before I jump in, right? The notion of jumping in before I'm set up feels very foreign to me, just because I had a career where I knew everything there was to know in my field. So it's just a different, it's just adjusting to a different.
It's a mindset. When I first started, I would drop off flyers and they would have to be the perfect flyer, and I'd have to get the right line and the different color. And, there's so many times you're spending so much trying to get it perfect, where it's like, just go, just do it. One thing, and again, I recommend this in every one of my classes, so if you've ever sat, you'd hear it, is on a daily basis. I recommend this for everyone. I recommend this for experienced people. I recommend this for not experienced people, newcomers. And I've seen people do it. I've seen other people give me 10 reasons why they didn't do it. But for 2 weeks, create like an Excel sheet of, if you want to do 15-minute increments or 30-minute increments. If you start your day at 8, it goes 8 to 8:15, 8:15 to 8:30, or you could do 8 to 8:30, 8:30 to 9. The lower the time intervals, the actually more effective it is. But like you do 2 columns, you do busy work and money work, busy work and money work. So busy work at the top, money work at the top. 15 or 30-minute intervals. I don't recommend any less than 15. I don't recommend any more than 30, because it's like, okay, a lot of things happen in that, but 15 minutes is good. 30 minutes is good. So 15 to 30 intervals. And anytime you are talking to people saying, do you know anyone looking to buy or sell? And they're saying, no, yes, that's money work. Money work, track it, money work. And then busy work is, because sometimes agents get it twisted and they think creating the next fire brochure is like money work and this is going to drop. And it's like, no, it's not, that's busy work. That's busy work. You creating your templates, or you creating the next email campaign. That's busy work. That's busy work. Anything that you could pay someone to do is busy work. I can't pay someone to go knock on a door and drop my knowledge on it, but I could pay someone to make a social media post of our just listed and our just are just sold, just listed in escrow. I can pay someone to do that. I can't pay my social media person the same if a seller's firing off questions at her saying, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? You know, this and the other thing. So like busy work and money work, it will blow your mind of how little work you all do. You know what I mean? Like literally, but yet everyone wants to make 100K, 200K. I was mentoring a kid here 4 years ago. Didn't want to buy a laptop. He's like, oh no, that's like what I got. I got my iPad and I got the free. I'm like, dude, you're done. You know what I mean? You're done. You're not mentally vested in and stuff like that. He's like, well, I'm like, how much you want to make? He's like, you know, first year I want to make like 125. I'm like, okay. All right. Well, what are you doing? And well, you know, I got big things in motion. Literally he's out of the business and stuff like that. It's like,
And you have John.
yeah. And then I've seen other guys come in. That's like, I will literally like I mentored a guy, and every time I mentor, like back in the old program, they would have checklists. Week 1 checklist, week 2 checklist, week 3, you know, get your business cards, go get your super key, go get the key to the office, go get the e-card to get in the door and stuff like that. That's like, you know, your checklist and stuff. And I told them, I was like, the mentees that come in that give me 5 reasons why it's not filled out from the week before are the ones that fail. The ones that come in, I don't want to hear excuses. I don't give a shit about excuses of why you didn't do this. And that's on the agenda for tomorrow. It's like, this wasn't week 1 and 1.5. This was week 1, you know, week 2, not 2 3/4, not 4, you know what I mean? It's like, why the hell? I could go and cross off everything right now. And it's a trait. And then this one guy, I was like, and I have this spiel with all of them. I'm like, I'll tell you right now after week 1, if you're going to fail or not. Like, I don't waste my goddamn time. You know what I mean? Like, if you want my knowledge and stuff like that, don't bullshit me. Don't lie to me. Don't have your shit together. Come in mentally ready. This guy calls me up. He's like, Todd, you know, I got fired up and I've been door knocking for 8 hours today. I was like, holy shit, 8 hours. He's like, I knocked on easily 500 doors, you know. Fast forward, that guy first year locked down a 3 million listing, a 2.2 million listing, a 1.5 million listing. And I was like, he inspired me. Honestly, he inspired me because he's one of the few people I've seen that's new come in and annihilate the game of just saying, I don't give a shit what my time in this game is. I will go rip it apart, and did. And I was like, dude, it was almost emotionally inspiring to me because I look at my team and I bring him up frequently. And I say, don't, if I had me when I was at your stage, who knows where I would be right now? I had no one to give me any leads. I had no one to give me anything in a market that was just crushed. That was just recession after just a crumbling market and stuff. Everyone losing their house, everyone's income shot, lenders tensed up everything. And yet there comes a certain point where there's so many leads that are coming in that you almost take it for granted and stuff like that. And it's like, it's one of those things that he was a perfect example for me to show me that it is a limited belief of like, well, I just started and this, that, and the other thing. Like the guy literally hit the ground running, and you know, he was lethal. I mean, simple. He's still in it and stuff like that. But I think he went to a different brokerage, and then he went to Beverly Hills to do that. And then I think he's out here. I don't know where he is right now, but you know, so, but it literally is like a killer instinct. It's like, I respect all of you as agents. At the same time, you're not paying my mortgage, you know, and you're not paying my bills, you're not paying the groceries and stuff like that, you know. So I'm never going to badmouth an agent. I never talk shit about an agent. Even if I know the agent I'm going up against, I don't talk bad. I just show why my value is there and why I can get them the most money and stuff like that. Because again, this is a very small industry, and agents don't forget. And there's only one thing worse than being a new agent is a bad agent, because then your clients don't even know that you're a detriment to them now. Like there's agents out there that if there's 5 other offers, I will go to the seller and be like, this agent is a hodgepodge. He doesn't have control. He doesn't follow up with the lender. He doesn't follow up to make sure the last transaction, he switched 2 different lenders, didn't tell me about that he was switching lenders and stuff like that, even though I was checking in and stuff. And you become a detriment now. So it's like, it's a small industry because you're going to run into the same people over and over and over again. And so whenever, you know, when you get a listing, Don't get cocky. And your phone's blowing up and people are smoozing you. What do I need? Come on, Todd. Don't get cocky, because at the next day you're going to have a buyer and they're going to have a listing. Because some agents over here, they're like, they are higher and their heads go in the clouds that they get this listing, and they're the gatekeeper of this listing. And then all of a sudden they're hitting me up about my listing the next time, and I'll remember it. You know what I mean? I never delete my text messages ever. I have text messages that go back 3 years, because if an agent texts me, I could see the last thread of what we're saying. I could see our dialogue. I could see how I knew them, because there's other ones where you're like, how did I know this person? You sound familiar. Oh, it's that property. Okay. And I have that. So it's just respecting each other, respecting the community. And again, we're all here together. If I get a listing, I'm offering a buyer commission. I'm working with you guys. There's other companies out there that don't offer a buyer commission if they get the listing. Rex is a good example. There's a Rex Realty out there where they get the listing, they put it on Zillow, and they don't offer any buyer commission. So your buyers that are looking on Zillow and stuff like that, hey, what about this property? I didn't see it in your search portal. Well, that's because they're not offering a buyer commission and stuff like that. That's another script, is like, look, you need to know your competitors. You need to know that Rex doesn't use California Association of Realtor forms. They use their own forms. And I have that dialogue with my buyers too. And they ask about it. It's like, look, they use their own forms. My E&O insurance, I don't think would even cover me with this, because it's like, I'm not knowledgeable in the forms, because it's like this own brokerage did it and they're not offering a buyer commission. So, and then Rex tries to tell you, well, your buyer could come in 10,000 higher and they could pay for your commission. And it's like, okay, you know what I mean? So it's like, but that's a script to get your buyers off of Zillow onto your search portal, because if they're on your search portal, then they don't see Zillow and stuff. And not to say that they don't want to see it, but genuinely, I don't think Rex represents their clients in the best interest. Rex wants to say that they fiduciarily help their sellers in the best way possible. It's like, well, how do you do a fiduciary duty to your seller if you just ostracize 3,000 agents from showing your property? Like, you basically have 3,000 agents that have buyers that you aren't paying a commission to, and they will do everything possible to sell their buyer out of that property. How is that a fiduciary duty? Their whole thing is that it's an antiquated system. It's an antiquated system and stuff. And so it's like, why should the seller pay for the buyer's agent and stuff like that? It's like, look, you can fluff all you want and stuff. I think that anytime you have agents trying to sell their buyers out of your property, you are not doing your seller the best interest possible of getting them the most money and stuff like that. But this is a script that you have with your buyers. I'm going to set you up with the search portal. It gets updated frequently. You could save and reject properties. You can have your own, get them away from all the third-party sites and stuff like that. Get them on your search. That might cost you $50,000 one day. If they see, I know an agent in this office that got screwed by them, was showing these buyers property after property after property. Lo and behold, they fall on a Rex property. It was like a 900, it ended up closing at 890 and it was listed for 990. And so at 890 on a traditional sale at 890,000 times 0.025, it would have been 22,250. He ended up walking away with $5,000. Lost 15,000 bucks. And I knew the Rex guy, so I spoke to him. I was like, you screwed Jimmy. Ah, shit. I'm sorry, Jimmy. But Jimmy, and I'm sure Jimmy actually spoke about Rex actually at the meeting and stuff like that. So he did. Thank God. Thanks, Jimmy. But Jimmy, you know what I mean? Jimmy Duggan, it happened to him. And I stuck up for him. I'm like, you screwed Jimmy out of this. I'm like, this is our livelihood and stuff like that. He's like, well, the seller took a haircut because we had it listed at $999. I'm like, the seller didn't take a haircut. You overpriced it and you can't sell the property. You blew it. You know what I mean? I'm like, you blew it. Jimmy got affected. You undersold the property because you have every agent fighting against you. I'm like, your company's a train wreck, man. You know what I mean? Like so having that script for your buyer
Wait, they only paid Jimmy $5,000 versus they had promised a higher amount?
No, nothing. but it's almost like they worked out some type of thing. And I mean, that's the thing with Rex. It's like you shoot from the hip. It's like, well, you know, well, what do we do? And you can try to work out an agreement, but by that time you're already submitting stuff. And you know what I mean? I don't know the black and white of everything, but I know that he walked away with $5,000 with a $900,000 client that he could have had 23,000 on. I mean, it's, you know, so it's like, when I see stories like that, and then I see agents in our community that are getting listings that are offering 2.5 and stuff like that, the competitive, like the enemy is not the other agents. The enemy is not Berkshire Hathaway and Coldwell Banker and Dilbeck and Compass. And these are our allies of keeping this industry reputable. I mean, people think like some people think we're overpriced, and it's like, oh, you're overpaid. In your industry. It's like, you go try to do a nightmare transaction, and the emotional roller coaster and the amount of money that is going back and forth in this industry. And you come tell me that the average Joe off the street could do it. You know, the mental toll that this industry can take on our psyche is like, you know, all of our friends that have jobs at Kaiser and B of A and all that, if they came out and they said to them, well, you're going to get demoted, you're going to get paid $1,000 less this year than last year, they would be picketing, they would be protesting, they would be this. We have an escrow fallout right before dinner with our friends, and we just lost $40K, and we're supposed to put on a happy face like, you know, nothing's wrong now, you know, let's all have a drink and stuff like that. And it's like, that's the industry. It's almost like that overnight, and you can't let it get to you. You could sulk, and you could be like, oh God, what would I have done with, I don't calculate any commission ever. I don't look at it. Whenever we get something accepted, I'm not like, oh yeah, all right, you know, okay, I don't look at it. I don't want to know it. I completely tune out on it. And there's just, let me focus on this. Let me close it. Let me go to the next one, because that is where it'll annihilate you, is when you start calculating how much money you could have made, how much money you've lost this year, what slipped away, the listing where the guy chose someone else other than you. I'd be in excess of $3 million in my bank account if everything I lost, and every buyer. I was showing a buyer around for a long time, and I'm at a Tony Robbins event, and I'm seeing on my portal that this person is looking at it 4 times, 5 times on the property, 6 times on the property. I'm like, they like this property right here. So I called them and I'm like, yeah, you know, this is a property. I see you've been looking at it. Let's get in. And it's like, oh, we actually went to the open house today. I'm like, okay. Like, yeah, we're going to go back again tomorrow and check it out. I'm like, and as soon as they say that, you already know they're talking to someone, scheduling to go see it again. I'm like, oh, fuck. So I'm like, okay, well, I'll meet you there. It's like, oh, well, you don't have to be there. I'm like, look, talk to your husband, you know, fast forward. They're like, well, we really connected with the guy in the open house and stuff like that. And so we're going to, and that crushed me. I think Sean saw me at that time where I was like, just done. I was like, man, it was like 20,000. I was crushed. It emotionally took a toll on me. But, you know, people say, well, do you buy or broker agreements and stuff like that? You know, it's up to how you want to run your business and stuff. You know, I don't ever want to discourage buyer broker agreements. Between you and I would never enforce a buyer broker agreement. If a buyer doesn't want to work with me and see my value, I'm not going to stick his feet to the fire and say, well, you need to pay me and stuff like that. But
or I'm going to come after
or I'm going to come after you and do this. Cause it's like, what kind of client relationship we got here? You know what I mean? The last thing I want is a review online saying this guy contractually bamboozled me. You know, he didn't let me buy, but it's like, I'm not saying buyer broker agreements are wrong either. If you can articulate the script, I don't discourage them. You know what I mean? Because even if the buyers mentally know that they signed something, then they mentally know, then it's up to them to call your bluff of pursuing them and stuff like that. But if you could perfect it, I don't want to discourage it, because having one is better than not having one, to be honest with you. I mean, having a buyer commit to you is better than having them not commit to you. And if you have a good relationship and there's no need to enforce, then cool. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't want to deter anyone from not doing that approach. But that's a script too. You know, and that is a script of like, well, you know, I have a certain amount of time in the day that I can help clients. And, you know, when I'm working with you as a buyer, and I definitely dedicate 110% of my time to you, and I will do everything possible to get you the price at the best price possible. And all I ask in return is your commitment to me, and us being in it 100%. And all I'm asking is again, for you to commit to me that you're good, and I'm down to hit the ground running and commit everything to you until we get you a great property and stuff like that. And so there's that script right there. So you can kind of spin it as any way you want, because we get agreement signed for listings. I mean, why not get it for a buyer? So most buyers I work with now are like my sphere, because a lot of the buyer leads and all the other ones I give to my team. So I'm not in that type of atmosphere anymore now, but I don't discourage them from getting it. Like, look, if you want to do it and you want to get it, and you're not going to lose the buyer because they don't want to sign it, it's up to you and your call if you want to continue to show them, and that's another way to screen them. If this is a cold buyer and you're asking them and you're telling them all the ways that you're going to get them into properties ASAP, you're going to negotiate the best possible price and this, that, and the other thing, and then they don't want to sign a buyer broker agreement, it's up to you, your guys' call of like, what do you want to do? It's up to you of what you want to do. They don't want to sign it. Do you want to show them or do you not want to show them? You could still show them. Doesn't mean like if they don't sign it, they're done. I mean, they're there, but you're okay. Did they get pre-approved? Well, they're waiting for the right house. And so it's like, now you start piecing a puzzle together of like, they don't want to get pre-approved. They don't want to sign a buyer broker agreement. And so now you're basically putting in all the pieces of the puzzle of, is this person right for me right now? And being okay to let them go with the idea of, okay, the time I would have been spending showing them, I'm going to be calling 20 people and 30 people and going to the people that want to work with me and stuff like that. So again, I could go all day with every single scenario. There is a quote unquote script that you could be doing, but whenever you're talking to the general public, there is a script. When I are submitting a request for repairs, I can't tell you how many times I have a listing and the buyer submits a request for repairs and the buyer's agent submits a request for repairs and just emails me the request for repairs. No breakdown, no email, nothing. Just here's a request for repairs. Let me know if you have any questions. Like, dude, okay. Where when I'm writing it for my buyers, I am anticipating that they were forwarding it to the seller. I'm anticipating they're going to take my email, click forward and send it to them. So when I'm writing it down, it's like an elaborate, we love everything about the house. We're aware of the age of this, They're really only looking for health and safety items. This was a concern and here's the estimated cost right here. This was a concern and here's where we got the credit amount from. If we could do this right there, what I've started to do is I've even started to not say sellers and clients. I've actually been using the names in the emails. So like if I have the buyer and the sellers are John and Susie and stuff like that, I basically say, if John and Susie are okay with this, James and Jennifer are willing to move forward and remove everything and continue, because it humanizes it. And it's not like your clients or your sellers. And it's like, well, it's dehumanizing it. So when I say John and Susie are reading my email saying John and Susie, because if I'm writing this elaborate email, no buyer's agent or no listing agent is going to take it, delete it, and then just forward it. They're going to forward it, everything. So I am like, sometimes with the request for repair email, it takes me like an hour and a half to write up. And so this is all stuff that, would that have got the same response if I would have just sent it over? No explanation, no nothing, and it's like the extra things that I do behind the scenes that people don't see are the reason why a client that there's not been one client I've worked with in my career that has not worked with me again in the future and has worked with someone else. Does anyone know the percentage of consumers, buyers and sellers that do not use the agent they used prior in the transaction before, whether that be to use it to buy the house or to sell the house or this does not reuse? What do you think the stat is? Anyone online know that?
75%.
60.
I was gonna say 70.
70. 50.
That's 92. That don't come back?
You think?
92.
Yeah, no.
Oh, I said 75.
75. It's about 70 to 75. 70 to 75% do not use the same agent What do you think the biggest reason is?
I didn't keep in touch.
Yeah.
They forgot who it was.
Forget about it.
They forgot the agent. They forgot the name. Literally, like, it's insanity that they forgot the name of the person. They bought the biggest purchase of their life. They forget the name. I don't blame that. Whenever, and let me give you this. This is another good piece of advice, is that if you were ever talking to someone of your sphere or your database and they end up buying and selling, and you're like, why didn't you use me and stuff? And like, honestly, I didn't even think of you right now and stuff like that. That is not their fault. That's your fault. A lot of people, how do you not think of me? And it's like, because you weren't at the top of their mind, man. You know what I mean? You didn't do what you needed to do. You didn't do what you need to do to be at the top of their mind when that decision comes, when they need to buy a house or sell it and stuff like that. That's not their fault. You know, I can't tell you how many times where like my friends were like, well, a friend of mine that I went to college with, she was a lender, and she ended up buying, and I got fired up a little bit. And this is way back, years back. And I got fired up, but then I realized that like, I completely forgot she was a lender, and I never used her or anything like that. And it's like, but so it was almost like an inception type of thing. Cause like I was mad that she didn't use me, but then I didn't know that she was a lender, which then was like, well, she didn't do a good job of letting me know and stuff like that. But all in all, it's almost like it made me reflect of like how she did business, of like, hit me up. You know what I mean? Let me know, God damn it. You know what I mean? Like, let me know, Todd, when are you going to start sending buyers to me? Todd, like she never did that. And I never knew it. And who knows if that would have been different, but it let me reflect of like, I wasn't mad she bought something, but I was almost like reflecting on how she did business as well. Like knowing I'm an agent and she's not bringing up once that she was a lender and stuff like that. So, you know, just staying at the top of their mind, but scripts for that. I mean, like getting your, how many of you have your clients' birthdays? And you know them when it's your client, when your friends, family, database, sphere, people that you expect to give you business. This goes for you too, Michelle, because I know you have a big database, but like people that you expect to give you business, how many of you have their birthdays that on their birthday, you call them and you say, hey, what's up? Happy birthday. Hope all's well. How many of you do that?
In my sphere, I have birthdays. But
Yes, I don't call them.
like the new.
You don't call them?
emails,
That's too much work.
I didn't have to before.
I usually send.
But
Close circle, yeah.
no, I mean, you want to get as many people as possible, but like so many people think that like,
import that data from Facebook into your CRM.
I don't know if you can import it, but I do know that Facebook has an extremely easy way to just check the calendar and just take like a day of it. That would be your busy work, is you basically look at the calendar for that month, and you don't have to do it like 5 months ahead, but just do it for that month, and you just do it once. And it's like, this is the month, boom, 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 boom. Put it as repeating annually in your calendar. So it comes out, you just do it once, and it's going to repeat every year and stuff, and you're done. And do not send them a Facebook message on their birthday. Call them. How many people called you on your birthday without not counting family and extreme and close friends? How many people called you on your birthday?
0.
Yeah, probably 0.
It's insane. But yet you're the one person calling them like, what up? Happy birthday. How you doing? Every client I call them on their birthday. It's the small things. That I have their house anniversary, wedding anniversary, kids' birthdays, their birthdays. That alone's 5 touches. I mean, you know, your 33 touch, it's not going to be, you know, what do you think is going to get more? Me calling them on their birthday or your drip campaign?
Definitely the call.
You know, and I'm not saying the drip campaign's bad. That's just an added, because you need to do 33 times. And
Dentist calls, actually. I think that's the only one that's in them.
and you know him right now. You know what I mean? Like you knew that your dentist was the only one that called, and you wouldn't think about going to any other dentist, and you wouldn't think about going to any other dentist. And it's like, it's amazing how that works with like just a little bit of effort. And again, when you call them,
Dentist too. I mean,
Yeah.
that's pretty wild.
yeah, my dentist sent me a card too. And I was like, no, okay. Yeah.
But the Facebook thing's easy because I don't know how, but that's all imported on my phone, the birthdays from there.
Yeah.
So that'd be easy to check.
You just need to get that in the routine. You need to get it in a routine of checking Facebook every day, and instead of just in your calendar and stuff like that. But, you know, it's one of those things that, you know, we expect so much from our clients. We expect them to give us $50,000 and $30,000. We expect them to purchase the biggest purchase of their life with us, but yet we don't call them on their birthday. But yet we're infuriated that they listed with someone else. And it's like, all right, you know, like we need to self-reflect on what type of relationship that we have with these people, because it's like, just because they know you doesn't mean that they're obligated to use you or entitled, you know what I mean? That's entitlement right there. So it's like, what gives you the right to even be upset that they didn't want to use you? Because obviously in their mind, their connection wasn't strong enough, and that's on you because you're the one wanting to get business from them. It's not reverse. It's okay, you know? And that's basically, that is humanizing it and really taking a focus on your database. You know, I know when I took Bold, one of the exercises was call your database, and even the people that you haven't spoke to in 2 years and 3 years, call them and say, and this might apply to you too, Michelle, being in your industry of your database and stuff, but like call them and say, you're in a contest at work of like the most referrals, and you need the most referrals, and you're in a contest at work. And if you knew anyone looking to buy or sell, and and you appreciate you thinking of them, and then, you know, keep the convo to like 7 or 8 minutes, and then, you know, get off, and then maybe follow up later to them. You know, me personally, even though that was the script, I didn't like it. And I was like, that's not me. I feel awkward. You know, I don't want to not speak to someone for 2 years and then hit them up about being in a contest at work. But I basically took the concept of it and I flipped it and said, okay, you know, I'll call them. And I did the action of it. So I would call people, and I would call some people that I didn't speak to since college. And I would hear kind of like their confusion when they picked up the phone, like, because I you know, they haven't spoke to me in 5 years, and now I'm calling them. So they would pick up the phone like, hello, Todd, you cool or what? And I'm like, yeah, you know, I'm good, man. And I would lead off with seeing how they're doing. And I would say, you know, this also goes to everyone here that wants to call their database and is nervous that they haven't spoke to these people in years, and how do you call them up and break the ice and stuff like that. So I would call and I would be like, you know, hey, Sean, like, how you doing, man? It's good. What's going on, man? Like, not much, you know, just calling to see how you're doing. You know, I can't believe we're already almost done with 2020. And, you know, as I was sitting back the other day, I realized like, man, you know, like I haven't spoke to you in a couple of years. And it's like, I know that time flies so fast where like a day turns into a week, turns into a month, turns into a year. And before you know it, we're like 2-3 years past, and it's like, it goes by so quick. And of course they're going to agree with you because everyone says time flies, right? You know, I can't believe it's November already. You know what I mean? Like everyone agrees, in everyone's world, time's flying right now. So they're going to agree with you and be like, yeah, you know, and I want to make it a point to not go and speak with you once every 2 years and 3 years. Like I want to make it a point to strengthen like the, you know, our friendship and relationship and stuff like that. And, you know, I really want to make it a point to just, even if it's touching base to shoot the shit or something like that, I just want to stay in touch with you. You know, how's everything going with you? How's work and stuff? And then they'll tell you. And then what is the next thing that they're going to say?
What are you doing?
What are you doing? Good, you know, like, or the people that I'm friends with, oh, I see you're killing it in real estate and stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, you know, I am. It's definitely a wild market right now. But the thing is like, once I close a deal, I'm unemployed again. Like I'm the most unemployed guy in the county, because like as soon as you close, you're unemployed, you know, and people are like, what? They'll think about it for a second. I'm like, yeah, I don't get paid hourly. I don't get paid salary. I mean, I'm unemployed again. Every time you close a deal, you're unemployed. So it's like, you know, it's a joke, and they laugh. And it's like, there's no price point that's too small or too big. You know, who do you know looking to buy or sell right now? Would love the opportunity to help them and stuff like that. Oh, I don't know anyone right now. All right, man, no worries. Well, you know, let me know. I'm never too busy to take your referrals. I would be extremely appreciative if you can keep me in mind and stuff. And again, you know, let's make it a habit to talk more frequently. I don't want to talk to you again in 2023. You know what I mean? Like, let's talk. And all of a sudden now you haven't spoke to this person in 3 years. And now it's like you've never left type of thing. And that was comfortable to me, as opposed to, I'm in a contest. I need this. How are you? Okay, I'll call you back. All right, get out of here. Boom. Who do you know? Boom, boom, boom. You know, and that's something that's my comfort. And even though that wasn't the exact script, I wouldn't have been able to do that unless I had the concept of it too, of like reaching out to them and going out to there, and then thinking of my own thing of my comfort level. Cause I guarantee you how I said it, I felt a lot more comfortable than it would have been a different combo, a different vibe, a different everything with the same person with that script and this. So that's why I was saying, Michelle, it's like, it's good to get an idea of scripts and stuff like that, but that doesn't necessarily mean you have to have it verbatim, but you get the concept of what the goal they're trying to accomplish. And then the embedded commands are another thing. So like embedded commands I use. So like embedded commands, anyone know what embedded commands are? No.
Kind of how you trigger your words to.
Like an embedded command is like a call to act. It's almost like you're subconsciously telling them to use you. Like, so for instance, when I'm talking to a seller, I say, the reason sellers choose me to list their house, you're already saying that, you know what I mean? You're already telling them that they're going to choose you. You know, the reason sellers choose me to list their house, it's true. And it's amazing what, like, honestly, why do you think the infomercials say, buy now, but wait, you know what I mean? Like, have you ever noticed like those cheesy infomercial things? Like, it's like buy, like the URL is like buysnuggies.com. You know what I mean? Go visit buysnuggies.com because you're typing in buysnuggies.com and you're already saying that you're in your head, you're buying it, because why would you go to buysnuggies.com if you were not wanting to buy it and stuff like that, as opposed to just snuggies.com. All right. You know, but you're saying buysnuggies.com. So the brain is a wild thing. So like when you're saying the reason sellers list with me is because I get them the most money. And you know, when you choose me to list your property, I'm going to hit the ground running with and you're already like, there's not like, well, you know, if we connect and you want to list with me and I'm better than the other people, it's like, you're done. You know what I mean? As opposed to the person that is already talking like they got the listing. Like, all I need to do is sign here and I need to get my post out in the front yard and I'll get you the most money type of thing. Not like uncertainty and unsure and stuff like that. So embedded commands is some other stuff you should look into, like use me, list with me, choose me, stuff like that, where it sounds weird when you're listing it off like that. But like when you actually put it in, and the reason sellers list with me is because I offer 100% client satisfaction. And the reason my sellers are 100% satisfied is because X, Y, and Z. And that's why they choose me, you know, and that is something where you're telling them, this is what you're going to do. This is what you're going to do. And you're the pilot. You're not going from, I'm just trying to think of another way of saying that. Like, well, you know, if you want to go with me, let me know and get back to me and then we can do this. And it's just like, okay, you know, as opposed to the confident guy coming in next or girl coming in next saying that. So I know we're going over. What questions do you guys have real quick? We got like, 5 minutes or something, but what, 18%. What is this?
Just guessing for the what percentage don't remember.
Oh, yeah, it's 75%.
You mentioned night classes a few times. Do you teach any night class right now?
Well, Ignite was, sometimes it was night, sometimes it was day. This used to be a 4-hour course. Like this exact course used to be 4 hours. But now they got it to like an hour and a half. And I mean, so sometimes it was at night, like 5 to 7, 8 or something like that, or 4 to 8. And so that was that. But like, yeah. What's the plan of action?
Call.
It doesn't have to always be calls, but like,
Learn the market around the area you want to call. And then get some knowledge.
the one thing, if you took anything away from this, take the busy work, money work. Do that. You know what I mean? Busy work, money work for 2 weeks. Humble yourself, because again, everyone wants to make 100 grand, but is doing nothing, you know, like talking to 3 people or talking to 5 people. That's nothing, you know, you're not going to get anywhere with that. You need to be bumping up those numbers. And the more you'll start seeing it, what also is going to happen is you'll start to see patterns of, well, I went to get coffee, but then I saw, you know, Steve at the coffee and spoke to him for 15 minutes. And it's like, it's eating your time away and stuff like that. Time block and track it. Time block and track it. Time block and track it. Time block of like, you know what you're going to do. Me personally, when I go in to the day knowing I'm going to do this, and this, I'm more productive than if I'm trying to wing it. Like, oh, okay, what am I going to do? I'm mentally not there. Like trying to start something up mentally as opposed to knowing I'm going into it is not as effective and stuff. I need to know that I'm doing this, and this, and I'm going to call expires. I'm going to call absentees. I'm going to go. If that was planned the day before and I knew that, I would go in with that psychology. If I like had free time, I'm like, let me just call absentees right now. I wouldn't have that same psychology of that. So honestly, this industry is a 95% fail rate, but it's impossible to fail. It sounds crazy, but it is literally impossible to fail if you do your shit. You know, like if you talk to 30 people a day, 25 people a day, if you're time blocking, if you're doing busy work and money work, if you're following up and have your CRMs, if you're sending thank yous, if you're like literally, I would look at me 5-10 years ago, and every year I look at myself, I'm like, man, I would love to be at this level. And I'm at the level, and you got Mark Tyrone dropping 30 mil in a month and stuff like that. And it's like, okay, like, and that almost motivated me. Like, where am I going to get it? Let's go, you know? And there's never a time you should be content. And every time you would ask, like, there was a time in my career, like, would you love to close 6 deals right now? I'd be like, are you kidding me? You know what I mean? 6 deals, I'd be cruising high and I'd be taking a vacay. It's like, you get there and you're like, what's the next? What's the next? And that comes from extreme like organization. Like you have to be organized in this industry. You have to be CRMs. You have to get your CRM. You got to get your systems. You got to get your time block. You got to get your contacts. You got to know who you're contacting, when to follow up, what to do. And it really would be impossible to fail. I've seen agents that have no right having listings have listings because they've just talked to enough people, taking cell phones, taking property photos with their cell phones. They're in the mirror, the flash is on, the toilet seat's up. You're like, how did you get this listing? You know what I mean? Like, you're horrible. But they talk to enough people, it will fall in your lap. You will come across the right person and stuff. And so it's like, that's the best. Yeah.
Oh, finish.
I was just saying, that's the best advice I could give you, no matter what the class is you time block. More importantly, do busy work and money work, because then you'll really start to track that you're not doing money work, but you're expecting to make money, but you're not doing money work, because there's always something else other than picking up the phone and talking to someone that you could be doing of a to-do list or a checklist. And the one thing that somebody told me that kind of always resonated with me is they're like, Todd, what do you want to make a year? And at that time I said like $1 million. I'm like, $1 million. And so it's like, okay, if you work 50 hours a week times 52 weeks, it's 2,600 hours. So if you wanted to make $1 million divided by 2,600 hours, you need to be paying yourself $385 an hour. $385 an hour is your worth. If you want to make $1 million, $385 an hour. Would I pay someone $385 an hour to stuff an envelope for a buyer letter? Would I pay someone $384? No, I'd pay someone probably $12 an hour to do that. So why am I doing $12 an hour work? Like, I view myself as $400 an hour. Like I'm more than an attorney, because that's how I view myself. And that has always stuck with me of like, the hell am I doing right now? You know what I mean? Like $400 an hour, you burn 2 hours, it's $800, you know? And it's like, it's hard to think of like, well, you know, I don't have really anything going on. We'll get shit going on. You know what I mean? Do it, because we're in an area, and this will be my last thing and I'll end it, but like, I've yet to have anyone contest me when I said that this is the most desirable place to live in the world, hands down, in the world. And everyone's like, what about New York? It's like, okay, outside of New York City, which is a crap hole anyway, what else is outside of New York City?
Nobody wants to live in New York City now. They're all going to the suburbs.
Yeah. I mean, Florida, what's in Florida? You know what I mean? What?
Hurricane.
Yeah. I mean, hurricane, you got San Francisco. I mean, come on, San Diego. Okay. Well, here it's like literally here. I'm talking about Westlake Village, like not SoCal, like Westlake Village. You are an hour away from Malibu, Venice, Santa Monica, Hollywood, the Walk of Stars, Roman's Chinese Theater, a couple hours away from San Diego, Mammoth, Big Bear, Santa Barbara, North Hollywood, Disneyland, Six Flags, they're within an hour and a half. Malibu, they're within an hour and a half. There is like 15 places that people come from around the world to go to, let alone Westlake, where you have every celebrity, where you have Kardashians in Calabasas, you have Will Smith, Wayne Gretzky here, you have everyone in North Ranch and Hidden Hills. Where else are you going to go? Paris? Outside of Paris, what's up outside of Paris? Actually, outside of Italy, and not outside of Italy, but where like the Colosseums and everything are, it's like graffiti everywhere, it's trash everywhere, it's everywhere else. Okay, where else? You go around the world. Nowhere are people coming to see Santa Barbara, San Diego, Malibu, Venice, Santa Monica, Mammoth, Big Bear, Malibu, Disneyland, Six Flags, Knott's Berry Farm, Anaheim. Like, we're here. I mean, and so with that comes extremely high competition. And we're so fortunate to be in this area. The fact that I buy investment properties in Memphis, and if you looked, you couldn't find something more than $300,000, $400,000, $500,000. They give you the key to the city. If you wanted to buy something that's 600 grand, it would be this big mansion where you drove up. And it's like, think about those agents, that the reason you see those agents and the reason you hear things like this guy sold 100 units and stuff like that in Arizona and Memphis is because these guys have no choice. Like, to make $500 to sell a property that's $100,000 doesn't give them the option. I think being where we're at right now is also a detriment to us, because an agent can close 3 deals and make 50K. And so with that, they're not looking at, I have to sell 100 to put food on my table. It's like, I need to do 3 or 4. So then they do 3 or 4 and they kick their feet up. I made it, hustling, hashtag hustler and stuff like that. And it's like, you did like 6 deals this year. What are we saying? You know what I mean? But it's like, to get to the point where to have that mentality of I need 100 because each are going to be 500, to have that here is I think what we need. But it's almost like it's a blessing and a detriment that the prices are so high. You sell one property, you make 25 grand. I mean, it's like, I'm cool now. It's like, are you? Because that would have taken the guy, 30 properties to make and stuff. And so that's why they have that instinct of like, I need to just get 100. And it gives us such an opportunity where if we could take that and tap into that. But again, it's a financial thermometer. Like, there's some, like, if you made 100K this year, would you be happy?
Right now, yes.
Yeah. My team, when I'm setting their goals, they're like 150. I'm like, that's bullshit. You know what I mean? Yes. Bump that up. You know what I mean? Go to 4. Well, like, my team always compares to other team members on other teams. And so they're going like head to head with I'm like, oh yeah, we always go head to head. I'm like, look, I don't look at you as that. I look at you as being at the top agent in the office. Why are you only looking at the team member associates comparing against that? Compare against the whole goddamn office. You know what I mean? Like, this is that, and that's the mentality I'm pushing them to, because it's a financial thermometer. If some people make 75 grand, they're done. They made it this year. They're happy and this, that, and the other thing. So you'll see that your financial thermometer, it adjusts with what you want to make. With me having the perception that I charge $400 an hour, looking at that guy at 5 back to me and Sean's listing appointment where that guy wants to pay me 5 G's and show up at every showing, show up with the HOA, send the HOA a letter, send the neighbor a letter, this, and the other thing, walk with. I'm like, okay, that's like 7 hours of my time, but for 5 grand. And that's not even including in the transaction. That's not even when we get into the transaction. Fast forward, this guy is listed and delisted with 4 other agents. And I've even called the agent. I'm like, what's up with this guy? He's like, man, I should have canceled it. He's like, I had a gut feeling. I should have canceled the photographer, paying $350 for the photographer, canceling in 5 days. This guy's a maniac.
I called the agents. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And listed, delist, listed, delist, listed,
Saying
delist.
like 9 grand, but Still, it was,
I
after talking to you and.
he said 9 grand, but the way Sean and I differentiate myself is he's saying, Sean, 9 grand. I'm telling him taxes, the IRS, the photographer,
Gotcha,
what's
yeah,
my
yeah.
net walk away?
Yeah, yeah,
Like you make 10 grand, the IRS is taking 4. So you're at 6. You have your photography, that's another $350. You have your online, your website, your graphic designer, you have this and the other thing. And before your transaction coordinator fee, you have all, and then before you your 5Gs. That's how I look at it. I don't look at it as gross. I look at it as net. What am I netting this? And he's like, this guy looks at me, he's like, well, I was in construction and sometimes I would do a whole kitchen and walk away with just 5 grand. I'm like, that's your business model, bro, not me. And that's why you're in this position. That's not me, you know? And the thing is that you got to keep in mind, people are selfish. They do not feel bad about wasting your time. You have to really look out for your time. You have to, they're not going to sit there and be like, I really feel bad. They will bleed you dry and dump you like garbage and stuff like that, because what they don't know. I mean, you're an agent, you're 10 other agents and stuff like that. So you really have to protect your time. They don't care. They're not going to pay you. They're not going to feel bad and be like, yeah, I feel bad for your time. Here's a couple G's, you know. No, it's like, hey, we use someone else. Sorry, you know, or like, oh, this one just can't. You know, they'll give you every excuse in the book. It happens so quick. What? You know what I mean? Like, I've got that before. Just everything happens so quick. Like, you mean you went to the property, you viewed it, you sat down, you thought about what to write the offer, you signed the offer, you submitted it. That happened so quicker than you just calling me saying, can we see this property? So they'll tell you everything because people don't like confrontation. So they'll think of every excuse to tell you and stuff like that. And then what are you going to do? Be pissed? So it's like, be proactive and protect your time, because by that time it's too late and you're not going to go on a rant, because I'm always and I'm the professional. I will not let anyone bring me down. You'll never go to Four Seasons. You're never going to go to the Ritz-Carlton. You're never going to go to Nordstrom's and go in, and you're not going to have a consumer get a rise off of the manager. You're never going to have the manager saying like, get the hell, you know, they're like, hey, sorry, sir. Because as soon as they bring you down, you're no better than them. And I'm the professional. And every time I've kind of let my emotions get the best of me, I regret it every single time. In that moment, it feels good that you're just telling how the cow ate the cabbage type of thing. But then when you go back, you're like, that wasn't professional and stuff. And it's like, you want to be walking around and be viewed as the professional, but then the slightest bit, you're rocking that person and you're yelling at them and this, that, and the other thing. So I always push my team to be Four Seasons, Ritz-Carlton, Nordstrom's, all the people that can charge. You know, I always tell people when they talk about discount brokers, like, well, what about the discount broker? I'm like, you could go to Motel 6, you could go to Four Seasons. Either way, you're going to spend the night. Either way, you're going to know the experience you're going to get. I would want someone opening the door for me at 3 a.m. I want to make sure the sheets are cleaned. I want to make sure there's no bed bugs. I want to make sure I'm not bringing anything home with me. I want to make sure everything else like that and stuff like that. And there's a reason you can go to Levi's and spend $50, but people still spend $350 at Nordstrom's. They're not sitting here like, oh God, well, how do we compare with Levi's? That's not your consumer. You know, the guy that wants to pay us $5K, he's not my client. Like, you're not good with me, man. I don't have to feel obligated to take everything out there. Just like, you know, the people that are like, well, I could go get jeans at $50. Why would I pay it's go ahead. There's the door. You're not our client. I'm looking for the client that if something happens 5 months from now and I get a rip in the jean, I can bring it back to Nordstrom's and say, hey, what the hell is this? And they're like, okay, here's new jeans and stuff like that. You know, that type of customer service. Ones that, again, you go to Four Seasons at 3 a.m., someone's opening the door for you. You go to Motel 6, your breakfast is a toaster, a loaf of bread, and no butter, you know, and it's like, here you go. You know what I mean? You pour your own and that's it. So some people like that because they're saving money. Other people are like, you know what? I want to make sure I'm sanitary. I want to make sure my sheets are cleaned. I want to make sure I can sit down. This is the one time I'm taking a vacation. I don't want to be slumming it and stuff like that. And they're okay spending it. You know, there's the Lamborghini and the other stuff. And then there's the lower end cars. And it's like, you don't have to feel obligated that you have every client that you need to get. So you need to know your worth. Once you know your worth, you can then decide. And again, you know, this is all a psychological thing of like, instead of feeling like these people, you're trying to convince these people, it's almost like you're taking the helm of like, are these people right for me? Are these people right for me? I choose it. You know, I choose, are these people right for me? And do they value my time? Do they respect me? And at that time, the 5,000 guy didn't respect my time, didn't respect my rate, didn't respect, and it's like, look, me and you are oil and water, man, because I guarantee, and he's like, well, I'm also going to buy too in a couple of years. I'm like, yeah. And I can hear you now saying, you're going to give me 50% of the commission because I could go to somewhere else and give me, they'll kick me back and you're going to pay for some of my closing. It's like, dude, I know people like you, the fact that you don't respect me. I don't walk into a doctor's office and say, hey, you know what, this surgery, I'll give you 2 G's for, I know you're charging 11, let me do 2 and this, that thing, but you go to Mexico, you could get something for less and stuff like that. It's not saying right or wrong. It's not your client. And that's the same. You look at yourself. What do you want to make per year? Divide that by the hours you want to make. That's how you view yourself hourly. If you would not pay someone to do what you're doing at that hourly rate, leverage it somehow. Go get a vendor, go get a lender, go get someone that you can partner with and be like, hey, can you help me with this and this, that, and the other thing? But, to be stuffing envelopes and I'm viewing myself as 400 an hour. Why would I do that as my time is ticking by? And then as opposed to paying someone and then closing deals and getting more listings and stuff like that. So it's just the mindset and tracking your time and efficiency. So that's it.
Question.
Yeah.
Would, like you're talking about when you got all these deals going, and for me, it's like complacency, I got no mortgage and got money in the bank and you get complacent. Like what keeps you one after another, after another, after another?
You do have a mortgage. You're saying you don't have a mortgage, or
well, it's all covered by the tenant and
I mean, honestly, I think what keeps me going is success. I mean, success. Like I was watching.
Then it comes to the
I psych myself out though. Like if you anyone watch the Michael Jordan documentary?
Yeah.
He would lie to himself to get fired up to win the game. I lie to myself all the time. Like, oh, these people I went to high school with, these people, like, the people wanting me to fail. I remember the people that laughed at me when I said that I was getting my real estate license in 2009 in the recession. They laughed. Good luck, laughing. Good luck with that, I remember the one guy that said that I was trying to reach out to my database that said, I was like, I'm trying to update my database. What's your mailing address? Oh, you're not going to mail me those real estate. I don't want any postcards or anything like that. You're not going to, like, no support or anything like that. Fast forward, that guy asked if I could give him help with real estate. So talk about full circle right there. But thinking about all those, I continuously think like, my success and also security, not knowing, like my wife got laid off at Four Seasons. She was in the corporate sales department, and corporate sales is Nike, who's doing anything now with a hotel. And she still talks to employees there, but even them have pushed everything to 2022, not even 2021. They're like, because you don't get reimbursed your deposit, but if you move the date, you don't lose it if you move the date. So they're like, okay, let's do 2022. So it's like, you're already another year out for corporate events. So they let her go, which I have a 2-year-old. I mean, I'm doing good. Yeah, I mean, yeah. But that's why though, is like, I don't have a plan B. And that's, what they say when they say, when you want to take over the island, what do you got to do? You burn the boats. You make sure that you don't have a way to leave. And so it's like, you're either dying on the island or you're committed. So it's like, fucking just do that. So it's like, it's wild. So that is like a driver of like, I don't want to depend on anyone. And just, I want to be able to live comfortably. I want to, like, there's certain clients that I work with that, like, they're buyers and they're buying a property and they're like, oh God, well, if I buy it at this, I can't, I don't want to do this, and this, because then I'm going to overbuild for the neighborhood and and they're so caught. And then there's other clients that are like, I'm going to put 300 grand in right now. I just want to live comfortably. This is how I want it, And it's like, I finally came to that epiphany, like last month, of like, I want to be a person where I want to be able to do what I want to do and not worry about nickel and diming of like, I bought my house at this price. I put this much in, like I bought my house for 810. I had like 150K into it. So it's already 950, and nothing in the neighborhood's going for 950. So it's like, do I stop putting money in because it doesn't make financial sense and stuff like that? Or do I want to live comfortably in how I want to live? And I like those clients. I like those buyers. I like the buyers that are like, I have a listing right now that's 2.4. The guy came to me, we're in escrow, and he's like, yeah, I really want to do research on the well, because if it's chemicals and stuff like that, I'll just use that, because to re-drill a well is like 70 grand. So
You can't do it right now.
yeah. So to re-drill a well is 70 grand. And so, he's like, if the well doesn't work, I might just use that for irrigation. I'll find another way to get potable water and stuff like that. I'm like, that guy's a boss. You know what I mean? Like, as opposed to the other buyer that comes and is like, the $2.4 million house. And it's like, well, this AC condenser is on his way out. You know what I mean? It's past its life. I don't know. It's just too much maintenance. It's like, I don't want to get too crazy, but like, that's like a peasant life. You know what I mean? And I don't want to live that life. I don't want to live a life of like nickel and dime. I'm not saying go out and blow your money and everything else like that, but that is not the lifestyle I want to live. That's not the lifestyle of like, I'm going to buy this house and I'm not going to do anything for 10 years because, it's like, look, that's me. So that's like a driving factor of like security. Cause I mean, when she lost her job, I was like, let's go, you know what I mean? I'll pick it up. Let's go. Like and it feels good. It feels good to like, in-laws. I mean, you're like a G, you know what I mean? Like you write your own ticket, you're good. You know what I mean? Like I'm walking around with like respect and everything else. And it's like, I'm not walking around with a big head or anything like that, but just like a proud, accomplishment. But again, like this is insanity right here. And the thing is like, I'm right here and I will not stop until, part of me is like, man, I'm gonna like, I'm always chasing them. And then another part of me is saying, man, when I become number one, it's kind of like, I like Mark always pushes me. I like that I was killing it. And I mean, I closed like 7 million in October, 7 million in sales in October. I'm walking around, just all happy. And then all of a sudden Moskowitz tells me that Mark Tyrone just dropped 28 million. I'm like, God damn it, Mark. You know what I mean? But it's like, that's also another driving factor, I guess, to answer your question, is like keeping people successful around you. Because if Mark didn't do that, I would still think that like, man, I crushed it. I'm the boss around here. I'm a G, who else is closing 7 mil? So to get humbled, I always keep, to keep people that are always pushing you around you of like, that's it, honestly, man. I mean, if Mark didn't drop 28 million, I'd still be walking around here like, oh man, I was the number one. But you can even see that when they're doing the peak performance, and it's like at 32 million, Todd Riccio. And if it would have stopped there, yeah. But then it's like at 70 million, Mark Tyrone. And it's like that right there humbles me again to just push. So it's like, I always try to, I guess it's like competitive, I guess, but like,
That's in you. I think people that do real estate have that in you. And you have to have that in you too. So even though you don't have the mortgage, if you have that in you or you have the goals, like when I go to the gym, I'm racing the person next to me every time. They don't know it, but I see their numbers and I'm trying to beat them, even if I pass out and roll off the treadmill. So like you looking at Mark, it's like you think you're doing great, but then you're like, hey, wait a second.
And I see that it's possible.
Yeah.
And it's one guy, and we're around here. And I also know that we don't like the amount of energy I have right now. I'm just like on my way up, and I'm not going to have that forever. And it's like, I don't want to retire and have to go work at Walmart. I don't want to retire into this. And so right now it's just stacking and stacking and stacking. And it's just the energy that I have. I don't know how much longer I'm going to have it, and riding until the wheels fall off. I mean, it's just literally nonstop. What can we do? What can we do? Where's the next one?
Until 50. At 50, something happens.
No, I am not taking that.
limited belief. But that's but that's pretty much it. It's like, we don't know. And especially with this industry, and now, like, we are like an athlete. Like, there is no paid time off. There's no vacation days. There's no, if I get hurt and I can't walk or anything like that, I mean, that's me. I mean, I am the machine. I mean, so it's like, it's kind of a wild thing to have no security net of.
It's crazy. Like when I dislocated my knee and I was like locked up in bed, you know,
we're the most valuable player. I mean, it's us. And so
scary.
That's what I'm saying. And it's like, I don't know. I'm the type of person that, like, I can't relax until I know that, okay, like even work or projects or school or anything else, until I know it's done, I'm not enjoying the road. I don't enjoy the moment. I'm like, I'm grinding. And so the thing is like, until I have passive income of like 30,000 a month, then I'll be cool. Then I'll probably pull back the reins. Like, okay, but I already have that plan is 35 investment properties. I'm at 7 right now total, 35 paid off. By that time, it'll be 20 years, boom, 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 35.
You say 30 a month is your goal.
35,000?
35 a month is your goal.
And past, like it's not working.
So 30.
But like, as of right now, if I stopped real estate, I wouldn't survive. I would have to do something. I would run out. So it's like, I don't have so that every time when people are going on vacations and stuff like that, I'm buying an investment property. I've spent probably 200, 300 grand in it, or 250 grand in investment property so far. I don't sell one of my clients told me that I've never forgot. I don't sell properties. I buy them. I was like, that's a beast mentality right there. He's like, I don't sell them. I buy them and I buy them and I buy them. So the townhome I lived in, kept it, started at 0 for the down payment, dropped another one on my house. I'm not going to sell that, starting another on the down payment, going that. And so it's all like the equity in there, the investment properties, in Memphis and all that. And so that's when I can kind of take a deep breath, when it isn't on me and I don't have to sell and all that stuff. But that's when I think I'll kind of chill out a little bit. But I'm still, like Sean said, you know, God forbid something happens to me. What's the plan B? I mean, no one pities me. You know, no one's going to use me out of pity. Oh, Todd, you're back. You're back when I used to list my house. It's like, you're done. You're like an athlete. I mean, you get hurt or you have like a career-ending thing. No one's going to be like, okay, 70 million for a contract right now. You're done. I mean, so that's why a lot of athletes go broke, because they don't invest while they're in the industry. You know, it's all about the parties and bottle service. I mean, and this, that, and the other thing. And I mean, and before you know it, look at Allen Iverson, look at everyone else. I mean, Iverson had an entourage, a basketball player that would have an entourage of like 100 people at every game. He would just travel 100 people at every game. And then when that money ran out, they're gone. Look at Tyson. I mean, look at all these people that were at the peak. And so that's kind of what drives me, of like strategically doing everything to where I'm not Tyson or Iverson or somebody that is one of the biggest, best athletes in the world now broke. I mean, and athlete after athlete after athlete do that because they're a commodity. I mean, we as agents, again, you know, we're not going to get pity or anything like that. If you stop calling and door knocking, no one's going to go to you and say, what's that? Like, if you're out of the people's minds. So that actually is a driver of me. It's like a fear of like, yeah. So
Your rental properties, do you manage them all yourself?
no, property manager. The one he had here, I do. The property manager in Memphis, I just, they take it and go. And so it's like, you can only get 10 mortgages in your name. In case you didn't know that, you can only get 10. So at the 10th one, I need to start paying them off and stuff like that. So then I have to start focusing on that and paying that off, which is going to even be more money, because the 70,000 loan balance, 60, you're going to have to start paying that off to get another mortgage and stuff. You can't have more than 10.
You can't have it in a company name?
You would have to have the company name, building credit then, and then you'd have to buy that. So it's like the lender is going to look at you. They're going to run your social. Where's that linked to? So you're going to have to open a corporation. And so it's like, you know, so. Yeah. So, but as I always say, I'm always here for questions. You know, my office is over there. But if you could take anything, honestly, take those for like busy work, money work, do it. I know half of you probably won't do it. I don't know. I'm not pointing out anyone, but I guarantee you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, not all 6 of you will do it. I don't know which ones won't, but to do it for 2 weeks and track it every 30 minutes or 15 minutes and track it and track it and track it and track it, do that. And then time block. Yeah, Sharon too, you're there. Thank you online though for coming and for staying, you know, Geico. And that is it. That is it. I don't know how to stop.
Thank you so
Yes,
much
thank you.
for a wealth
Great.
of knowledge.
Of course.
Awesome.